Gaming news today is all about surprises. First, Kojima surprised everybody at South by Southwest with a brand new Death Stranding 2 trailer, and it had plenty of surprises to discuss: a release date, tons of footage, and a character that I don't think anybody expected to see in the world of Death Stranding. So we're going to be breaking that down and discussing that. And I'm just going to say, I think Kojima just made the Game of the Year race a little bit more difficult, and the game's not even out yet. Second, it may come as a surprise, but one Xbox insider is saying that there is no Xbox console planned for 2026. This goes against and seems to debunk previous claims about the next Call of Duty being built for the next Xbox for 2026. We're going to take a look at what is being claimed. Third, according to one developer, big updates should be arriving soon for PS5 Pro's PSSR technology. Now, this comes on the heels of AMD saying that Sony worked with them on the latest and highly praised FSR 4. There are some big titles coming in 2025, so what can we expect to see from PSSR for those games? One of those being Death Stranding 2, along with Ghosts of Yotei. And as always, I do have a game for your wish list and your radar. This one kind of came out of nowhere for a lot of people, so I want to make sure that you guys know that this got announced. Also, a great way to support this channel is to be here every day, so hit subscribe. Make sure your bell button is set to all. Sometimes they get switched to personalized, and then you don't get notified of my content. Hitting the like button, whether you're here live or later, does help. We hit a huge milestone on the channel. 600 people are at the paying level or higher. A lot of you are on gifteds, and we're grateful that you're here often enough to get that. We need more and more folks to start to jump in and support the channel directly for what we do here every day full time. So let's just jump into this. In case you missed it, the Death Stranding 2 trailer looks absolutely incredible. Decima engine once again showing itself to be, at some levels, an unmatched engine. And this has such cinematic strength, but also I just think the gameplay looks unbelievable in scope and creativity. There's an almost movie-like quality to this game. I said that, you know, there are game trailers in games that come along where there's like an almost unspoken level of quality. You can tell that this game is going to do quite well. I think it's almost guaranteed a spot for Game of the Year because of Kojima's history. We know his games land at a high level of quality. We do know the gaming press likes him a lot. And this is going to be a really, really hard game, I think, to top, both in art direction, in overall quality, size, the number of actors that are in it, the writing quality. It just looks absolutely incredible. And to me, the big surprise was also the release date. June 26th is the release date for Death Stranding 2, and it does allow for pre-order starting on March the 17th, just 7 days away. But the even bigger surprise was one of the characters donning a headband and basically looking like Snake from Metal Gear Solid. Now, I'm not sure what sort of legal issues there might be with this, or if they actually end up calling him Snake. Kojima did acknowledge that there's a character in the trailer that looks an awful lot like Solid Snake. Connecting these worlds has the potential to really propel the second game to a new status for Kojima within the history of gaming, given everything that's happened to him. And obviously, the whole world was buzzing about what this means. We're also seeing some analysis. That shot you just saw with the gun, from one trailer to the next, this game has seemingly gone through some graphical upgrades as well. They keep getting better and better with this Decima engine, and this was all captured on a PS5, so this isn't even PS5 Pro footage, which is honestly, I'm not quite sure how they're doing what they're doing. There was a really great thread on Twitter about why this engine is so effective at what it does. It is just such a very, very optimizable engine with the way it handles all the various textures and things. It got really, really deep into the technicals of it, and I may end up doing a video and include that in that. So this thing kind of obviously stole the show for the weekend. I was done writing my script and had to like scramble to add this before dinner yesterday evening. So and it's a 10-minute long trailer, so we didn't even get to watch all of it just this morning. But another thing that was surprising is apparently the next Xbox console, we've been referring to it as the Xbox Next in 2026, is seemingly getting debunked by one Xbox insider. Previous reports were coming from an actual reliable insider about Call of Duty that the next Call of Duty built for 2026 will be skipping old gen but also that it's being designed specifically for the next Xbox. Now, that still could be true, but it led to many to speculate that there would be an Xbox console next year. Jez Corden from Windows Central had the following to say on his recent podcast. He said, quote, "If the info about Call of Duty is accurate about it launching on the next-gen Xbox in 2026, there is no dev kit right now. So like the idea that developers have already gotten the next-gen Xbox's dev kit, that's just not accurate." So again, this doesn't mean the report was false. He elaborates further. He says, "The whole idea of the next Xbox is that it's going to be a PC in essence, but with a TV-friendly shell that also has a specific set of specs in mind, so developers will be building for Windows PC in a way, but in such a way that they know exactly what the specs will be. So maybe the Call of Duty rumor could be right, but if it is, the dev kit talk is more about what kind of specs that they've been told to target in the next Xbox, not having any dev kit." He then concluded that he's pretty sure there is no new hardware in 2026, but rather targeting 2027. Now, this honestly sounds more feasible. I previously stated launching something in 2026 felt very unlikely. Phil seemed to make it clear that a handheld was years away, and Jez does seem to corroborate other rumors about it being some kind of a console PC hybrid. And I had said that I don't think they're going to try to compete on power, given that they're enhancing games for the PS5 Pro to then come out with hardware in 2026. It didn't stand to reason they'd be trying to compete on power. I said they would probably be trying to compete on features, given some of the verbiage that Phil Spencer has used. And it sounds like that's what they're aiming at if Jez has accurate information about what this box is going to be. So we'll have to wait and see. And speaking of consoles and power and upgrades, the PS5 Pro is allegedly going to be getting some PSSR updates. Now, in case you missed it, when Space Marine 2 got its PS5 Pro update, Gaming Tech on YouTube theorized it was potentially using an updated version of PSSR that had not yet been seen in other titles. Now, since then, many assumed Mark Cerny made remarks during his Digital Foundry interview that really heavily seemed to indicate that PSSR would be getting updates over time. Well, back in November, one developer spoke on a forum about PSSR and had the following to say. "For a game I'm working on, PSSR, one of the later versions but not the up-to-date one, is giving us much better results in comparisons to TSR and FSR. I'm expecting in the next 6 to 12 months, PSSR to be in a much better state in comparison to the initial versions in the first batch of Pro-supported titles. It already is." So this was sort of highlighted by Zubitech on Twitter. He resurfaced this post and said, listen, these updates should be arriving soon if this prediction is correct, that it's going to take roughly 6 to 12 months. Also, that post seems to corroborate things that we were already sort of sensing, that early editions, early versions of PSSR weren't quite yet ready or in a rough state. Some of those patches and games that rushed out early were not in great state. There's now over 90 games with PS5 Pro Enhanced label, and they seemingly have resolved most of those problems. I'm not seeing any glaring reports any longer. We know that Death Stranding 2 and Ghosts of Yotei are both landing this year. Now, Ghosts of Yotei would be more likely to utilize PSSR. Now, Guerrilla managed to utilize their own homebrew upscaling solution in Decima. I don't know if they may have assisted Kojima in using that same sort of upscaler that is sort of basically baked into Decima, and then they wouldn't use PSSR. So in any case, it's exciting to see more and more games getting the label, but it's also nice to see we're not seeing some of those rough edges anymore like we were seeing from some of the games that were clearly rushing their updates and their patches. So one more thing I've got to include here. It's not in the thumbnail title, and I forgot to grab a trailer for it, but it became known that Forza Horizon will be requiring a login to Microsoft on your PS5. That is going to be required. You're going to need a Microsoft account. Now, this is not surprising. I don't know why people are, acting like this is a big deal. This is pretty much normal for games like this. The game is releasing on PS5 on April the 25th, and it will feature full crossplay, but it will not have cross-save. They said, official on their site, Forza Horizon 5 for PlayStation 5 will not carry over save files from versions of the game released on other platforms. This is also the same behavior between the Xbox and Steam versions of the game. So this isn't new. They don't offer cross save between the platforms. So I know people don't like to do this all of the time, like having to make an extra account or whatever, but having a Microsoft account is probably pretty normal for everybody, whether or not you date back to Hotmail like I do, and that's the one attached to your Xbox, or maybe you don't have one or don't want one, but they did this for Sea of Thieves. This is pretty much normal now for these types of games. And fans are excited to have the game on PS5 as well as the PS5 Pro enhancements, connecting that account. I don't think it should block anybody from playing it that was really interested in playing it, because it is a high quality game. I feel like you'd be missing out on a great title just because you don't want to connect a Microsoft account. Now, I have a game for your wish list and your radar, and you might have not seen this one announced. This one kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know if anybody expected to see this franchise continue, but Styx, Blades of Greed, all of a sudden we're on a Blades kick, right? Blades of Fire, Blades of Steel, and Blades of Greed. And we've got a brand new trailer for Styx Blades of Greed. It released just 3 days ago. It's currently targeting a Q4 of 2025 release for the Xbox Series consoles, PS5, and PC. It is currently in all of the storefronts, so you can wishlist this right now. Now, Styx Master of Shadows and Styx Shards of Darkness both released in 2014 and 2017, so it's been quite a while since we've seen one of these games, 8 years. And they didn't get the greatest critical scores on like Metacritic and OpenCritic, but it did fare far better with the user scores. So both of those games have solid like mid-80 scores. So people seem to like these games, and this one again is targeting a Q4 release this year. I will say though, anything targeting Q4 or targeting the winter or holiday, it's going to get a little slippery this year. 2025 is busting at the seams with games, and I think a lot of games that are in that Q4 slot are going to end up slipping into next year. So we'll keep an eye on Styx Blades of Greed if it shows up during the summer showcase season with a release date or not. If you get into that second half of the year and you don't have release dates for a lot of these fall, Q4, winter releases, the actual trailer says fall, so they're not saying winter and holiday. I think that increases the likelihood that it does ship this year. I'll just put this on your screen so you can see. Steam has Q4, and this trailer here has fall, so that does increase the likelihood that it ends up landing. So that's the news, and now it's time for the discussion. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you guys so much for being here on this bright and early Monday morning. It might seem early to you. We had daylight savings time in America, and you're like, oh, wow, what's going on? Well, for 2 weeks or so, I'll be turning on a little bit earlier for you guys across the pond, and then you'll catch up with the rest of us. That's typical for Brits versus America. It always takes you guys a little bit of time to catch up. Anyway, and Charles Hawk, thank you so much for renewing your member light. And DK Bager, Han shot first, and so did you. Thank you so much for the first gifted member of the week. And then MTO renewed Member Plus. We are at about 600 people at Member Plus and above. We finally hit that milestone. So onwards and upwards to 700, that'll be the next milestone. I've got to navigate when I can do that IRL stream for you guys. It'll probably be on a Saturday. That's typically when we do those, to celebrate the new milestone. I've never heard of this Decima upscaler. Can you give me more? And Charles Hawk upgraded to Member Plus and said, I will help keep that count going. Thank you so much. That counts as 2. And then D Dizzle is going to bump it to 5. And he renewed his Member Plus for 42 months. Okay, so Zubair, when Horizon Forbidden West got its PS5 Pro enhancements, they opted to continue to use their own homebrewed upscaler in Decima as opposed to using PSSR. That was what was reported. People obviously spun it as a negative, and they said, oh yeah, PSSR sucks. They're not even using it in Horizon. They found the homebrew one that they came up with in Decima to be better, to be more effective. So again, I don't know, was that specific to Horizon and Guerrilla, or is it something in Decima that Kojima can use as well? Yeah, that should be able to put you down the right path. I didn't do a ton of research into it. That's pretty much all I could find was that, oh, they also use it for the Horizon Zero Dawn remaster. Thank you, T. Harris. Yeah, so it makes sense, right? If you have a really good upscale proprietary to an engine that is as good as Decima, I don't know why you would switch, because Decima is just such a... It's such a good engine. It really, to look at these games, if you look at Horizon Forbidden West and then the trailer for Death Stranding 2, man, I think one of the only reasons they're not having the other studios at at Sony use it is because Insomniac's homebrew engine's great, Santa Monica's engine's great. Like, they all have really, really solid engines already. You know what I mean? What did Housemarque use? Did they use Unreal? I think they used Unreal. It's like TSR for Unreal. Horizon and Death Stranding are the industry standard for graphics. I was trying to get Bend on Decima. Yeah, what's Bend use? I actually don't know. The interesting thing is that I was trying. I'm usually pretty. I think I'm decent with words, with writing, scripts, monologues, and speaking. I think I'm decent at it, And I was at a loss for words. I didn't even know how to describe the Death Stranding 2 trailer. I was like, it's almost like this existential dream trip that you go on, and it all is just exciting and also confusing at the same time. I thought it was Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2 was UE5. Graphics and performance. Yeah, Returnal's Unreal 4, which I don't know what they decided to use for Sorrows. If they bumped up to Unreal 5, I hope they had a good time with it. Split Fiction runs incredibly well on Unreal 5, so we're looks like we might be turning the corner with Unreal, hopefully, because a lot of the UE5 games that were coming out were just, they were not great. See my tag in Discord. Great news. What is this? Announcing the new illustrator for the Harry Potter. Oh, yes, the Harry Potter illustrated editions. Bloomsbury is thrilled to welcome Levi Pinfold as the new editions illustrator for the much-loved Harry Potter illustrated editions. Multi-award winning Levi Pinfold will illustrate the final 2 books. Half-Blood Prince will be published in October of 2026. Man, that we're going to probably... Well, no, it should slow down. We should slow down in the next book. Yeah, when we get to book 4 and 5, we should slow down. And I can get 4 and 5, right? So I should be able to time that. Yeah. Saros on Decima would go crazy. Hellblade 2 isn't even close to Death Stranding 2 or Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores. I would say that Hellblade 2 deserves accolades in particular areas. I don't know if you would compare them to games like Horizon Forbidden West and Death Stranding 2, because the scope of those games is just so ridiculous. The size of the areas, the enemies, the feel that they give you because of how large and the landscapes and the like. And Hellblade 2 was so contained, but I believe Hellblade 2 deserves a ton of credit for, Melina Juergen's work and the emotion capture, the facial capture, what they're able to do. It just is really, really well done. But it doesn't necessarily land to me in the same category. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Oh, so this is the trailer. This is the trailer illustrated by Levi. I'm sorry, not Levi. It's probably Levi. I kept saying Levi. It's probably Levi. Yeah, October of next year. Okay, great. Those will make for great, full sets once they're all done. Game engines are generally not one-size-fits-all, says Corey, unless they are designed around multiple game types. UE is designed around multiple game types, which is why it needs so much additional work to get high-quality results. Yo, what's good? How are you, Lansville Paul? 35 months of VIP from J-Dog. Is Death Stranding good? It is a game that I wish I had the insane amount of time for. It is just such a massive, massive time sink to try to beat it. Everybody I've spoken to says it's incredible. Detective Seeds had a really good tip on Twitter. He was basically like, get through the first 3 hours, and then he said, if you want combat, craft a gun and go attack something or other. He had some good advice on like how to enjoy it. And thank you so much for the $2.50 super chat. Game Over Cholo says Death Stranding 2 without a PC date, Xbox console, not looking like 2026. Hex might not be a console. A lot of goalposts moving by weird influencers this week. I forgot to set the super chat goal. Let me go ahead and set the super chat goal. Every 5 super chats, I will gift a member. They do have to be at the $5 super chat tier or higher if you guys want that, and then I give some of it back to the community in the form of a gifted member. Yeah, I mean, Game Over, Cholo. this is something that I'm continuing to try to think about how to navigate this, because I think there are people in this space that they're more interested in being toxic and nasty and hating and name calling. Like, I couldn't even celebrate the Death Stranding 2 trailer on Twitter without that ilk jumping on my tweet to be angry. And it's like, listen, I hope these people can get into, you know, healthier places in life where this is not what they spend their time doing. And a lot of this is, I think, at the charge of, you know, content creators, personalities, people with platforms who turn everything into sort of some nasty fight. And it's like, you can't even celebrate a critically acclaimed game director, Hideo Kojima. You can't celebrate his just incredible game. Like, if you just press pause on all the weird fighting that people do and you just watch the trailer, I don't know how you can't say, what a great time to play video games. We're crossing into new thresholds. I truly believe that. I really do. I think we're crossing into new thresholds within gaming. And I think we're going to look back and we're going to say, I think 2025 is going to be a pivotal year. Number one, I think narratives continue to die about gaming sucks, gaming is bad, gaming is dying, gaming's too woke, and all of the rest. It's amazing watching Split Fiction destroy so many people who were trying to gun for it for no other reason than it had two lead characters that were women. Like, the horror, isn't that so terrifying? I think we're going to look back and say that 2025 was a pivotal year. You know, I hope a lot of the non-gamers who grift on the community and the content, I hope they find new hobbies, because this isn't a hobby for them. Making the content's a hobby for them, but they don't play the games. Because, like, I quite literally look at this and I feel a sense of dread about, I'm not going to have enough time to play all these games. You know, I'm 43, I got a 9-year-old, an 11-year-old, and I got a wife, and I got all these other responsibilities outside of just doing this full time and making content. And I'm like, bro, I can't make time for all these games. Like, I feel a sense of almost like preemptive FOMO. I feel preemptive FOMO. These games look so incredible. They look so good. And I'm like, dude, there's no way I'm going to be able to carve out enough time to play them all. I'm moving through my backlog right now. I finished 7 games this year already, because I was like, I want to start finishing some of these amazing games. Like, I finished Space Marine 2, Plague Tale Requiem, both the Tales of Iron games, 9 Souls. Split Fiction was so much fun with my wife. It's like, there's just no way. I don't know. I don't know how anybody can be in gaming and be, like, unhappy. Like, I feel a sense of, like, I'm going to miss out. I'm not going to be able to finish all these stinking games. There's just no way. There isn't. The only way I could do it is I'd have to go back to my old school Twitch days. And, like, I'd basically have to spend 5 or 6 hours a day just streaming gameplay like I used to back when I streamed Destiny full time. And around lunch, we would switch and I would, like, play another game. But it's like, I'm just not at that place. I can't do that. I got to go to Green Room with you guys. I got to make videos. I got to write scripts. I got to research my next subject and project. This is the best problem to have, of, like, there's so many games, you're going to have to be selective on what you actually give your time to, because you're not going to be able to roll credits on all of these. You know? There's one creative director who's no longer works at the company and is blaming other devs for changing Halo's identity when he's the one responsible for the worst Halo games. Oh, is somebody there? Who's saying that? We had people he hired who hated Halo because of X. But what that really meant was, I feel like this game could be awesome because of Y input that I'm not bringing into it. I want to prove I'm passionate about proving it. So we ended up with a bunch of people who were genuinely passionate about the product. That's a huge advantage, and that helped in hiring and forming our team. Oh, they hated Halo. I remember that. Detective Seeds tweeting that it's coming in 2025. He got information about Starfield, apparently, is coming in 2025. I couldn't send out my tweet about this stream. It's really interesting, too. Our turnout is incredibly strong this morning, and we've been observing recently that if we don't tweet it, do we get better results? We feel like, I don't know. That's such a weird thing. It's so bizarre. Yeah. If you guys are just tuning in, thank you for being here. I do a Monday through Friday daily talk show. If I've not been on your homepage for a while, or this is the first time you've seen one of my streams, we just talk about all the latest in gaming news. So we're talking about Death Stranding 2. We're talking about the Xbox that was allegedly coming next year. Seemingly that rumor has been debunked by another Xbox insider. We talked about you need a Microsoft login to play Forza Horizon on PS5. And we also talked about, apparently, according to one developer, now is about the time we're going to start to see updates hitting PSSR on the PS5 Pro. And they're doing Astrobot bundles with the PS5, which that shouldn't surprise anybody. I anticipate people trying to turn that into a negative. I think people are going to try to claim that that's because it didn't sell well, or because they're trying to boost the sales. That's what I think. I think that's what people are going to claim. At the very least, they're going to spin into a negative. I think it's a huge positive to see Astrobot bundled with the consoles, because what it means is that they believe in the title and they want to see it turned into more of a mascot, for PlayStation. So, I'm always happy when the little homie gets his spotlight shined on it, man. It's great. It's a great game. Death Stranding hooked me right away, but it was too long in my eyes. It drags at some points. I would have shaved the chapters by 2 or 3. That was one of the issues where I just haven't been able to make time for it, and I really, really want to. It's like, so if I tried to play Death Stranding 1 before the next game comes out, I don't think I could, because I would have to ignore all the other games coming out. AC Shadows is this month, which is in like 10 days, which that's one of my more anticipated games this year. We know that May is insane, because May has what? Doom, The Dark Ages. There's a bunch of games in May, isn't there? Let's see. Video games in May of 2025. Not video gamers. Video games in May of 2025. Expedition 33, Lost Soul Aside, Doom, The Dark Ages. What the frick, man? I mean, how am I going to play all this? There's no way. Metal Eden, The Midnight Walk, Doom, The Dark Ages, Elden Ring, Night Rain, Lost Soul Aside. I mean, golly. There's no way. There's no way I could backlog Death Stranding 2 before June. May's going to come along and say, hey, sorry, Expedition's April. Sorry, April. That still stands to my point, right? March, April, May. There's something coming out like every dadgum month, almost every week. And it's like, there's no way I could make it through Death Stranding 1. There's no way. I can only play for a couple hours a night. It's a good problem to have. It really is. Like, this is such a good time. This is such a good time to be playing. We don't have a date yet for Mafia, the Old Country. They just said summer. How dare you not mention Yote? Yote doesn't have a release date yet. It's likely second half of the year, as Death Stranding 2 just took first half of the year. AK DualSense with 21 months. Love the shows, Lono. Keep up the non-biased truth. It pays off in the end. Death Stranding 2 looks great. And what microphone do you use? I'm in the market. Cheers. Thank you so much for 21 months. Guys, if you're paying for your own membership, consider upgrading. We just hit a huge milestone of 600 people at Member Plus and above. So now we're going for 700. We're going to celebrate with an IRL stream. We'll always celebrate those milestones. So consider doing that. This is a Shure SM7B. It's basically an industry standard podcasting microphone. It's one of the more common ones you see people using, whether you see, guys like Rogan and Howard Stern use it, but also YouTubers use it as well. There are other great mics in the market as well. I use this. It goes through a cloud lifter, then it goes through an analog mixer. It's not a digital mixer, it's an analog mixer, and then it goes into a Focusrite. Focusrite turns it into a digital signal to then come into the computer. I'm just pulling your chain. I think Yote will be November. Yeah, for whatever reason, there's a lot of the fan fiction writers out there who just deal in dishonesty about gaming in general, because they try to make one side look better than the other. I don't know why they keep saying that, like, Ghost of Yote is a mystery or is getting delayed or we have no idea when it's coming. It's like, that's pretty much how game announcements go. They announced the game last year and they said it was coming out this year and we'll get a date soon. Like, plenty of games have done that. I don't think that's abnormal. I think that's actually quite common. So I'm assuming that we will get a date for Yote at this summer thing that they're planning. They're apparently, according to insiders, they're considering doing a showcase, and they're leaning towards showcase. So if you guys are just tuning in, thank you so much for being here. Make sure you smash the like button as soon as you come in. You guys are rocking the like button. We should easily be hitting 300 likes any second now, and that is a testament to you guys coming in and faithfully just banging a smack out of that button, man. You guys are the best. And we're not getting people here from search. You're all coming from suggest or browse, which is amazing. That means I'm either on your homepage or you're seeing me next to other videos. Thank you for coming in and clicking. I hope you enjoy the conversation. It's a Safer Work broadcast that I do Monday through Friday full time. That's one of the reasons we have such a big member base and push for more members, is because that supports me to do this full time and to make content for you guys every single day and do a live show that spans from morning coffee with members all the way into the afternoon green room with members as well. And thank you so much, Noberto, for 46 months and a VIP. He says, another month, hype for Death Stranding 2. Really hoping the Pro gets a bundle with it or Yote. And then 22 months from Mr. Polar Bear says, uno más. And that's 2 members to add to the total. We're already at 8 members to start off the week nice and strong. And then guys, don't forget, every 25, I gift back to the community. So thank you so much. Monster Hunter Wilds and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 topped the PlayStation Store download charts in February. PlayStation is reporting. Check out the full list. Have they ever done this before? Does PlayStation typically put out a blog? Oh, no, they've done this. I've seen this chart before. Yeah. Yep. I have seen this chart before. Oh, check this out. This is so cool to see. Hang on one second. Glad to be here every day. Thank you, Amskin. They do it every month. I just don't think I've ever read it. I think I've seen screenshots of this chart that I'm about to show you. Okay, so this chart shows US and Canada, and there is a title on here that I'm thrilled to see on here. Like, this is so exciting to see. Way down here, right in between Helldivers 2 and Sea of Thieves, is It Takes Two. It snuck in. It snuck into the top. How many is this? Is this top 20? Right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, top 20. Lido bumps the line to 10 and says, I'm totally not setting up a 20 bomb. Thank you so much for getting us to 10 members already on the week. Thank you so much. Oh, you want a 20 bomb train, huh, Lido? He wants 20 to hit 30 and 20 to hit 50. Split Fiction Revival. I love to see that. That's such a great game. Like, It Takes Two getting a bump because of Split Fiction. Like, Hazelight's crushing it, man. Like, they're the kings of co-op, and they brought such a high level of excellence with Split Fiction. Very, very excited to see that for them. I hope it climbs other charts as well. I really do. I hope it climbs other charts as well. I'm sorry, not Split Fiction. It Takes Two is honestly the one you should start with. If you go in the reverse order, I don't think you would enjoy It Takes Two as much, because Split Fiction is just such an elevated status. Like, it's so much of an improved experience for co-op gameplay. It'd be really, really hard to go in the reverse direction, in my opinion. I played It Takes Two, I think 3 times. Once with Hilly, once with my wife, and once with my son. And I've rolled credits on Split Fiction once, and now I'm working through it again with Hilly, and I'm playing through it again with Madam, with you guys, as well as my son. And I really do think you'd want to play It Takes Two first. Stargator with 28 months and a member plus. Thank you so much. That takes us to 11 members on the day. Thank you so much for continuing to support the channel directly with a membership. Lone Wolf with 29 months. 29 months. Excuse me. I'm coming for the 3-year badge, as I always say. Love this community. Thank you for the content, Lona. You're the best. Thank you, Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf was disagreeing with me a little bit this morning in Morning Coffee, as he likes to do, right? Long-standing supporter, but we disagree pretty regularly, and I think that's healthy. That's something that we like to do. And I was saying this, Chad, and I'm curious what you guys think. I think Death Stranding 2 just secured one of the nominations, if not the front runner spot for Game of the Year. I really do. I think Kojima just said, that trophy's mine. I'm coming for it. I just think that the trailer in the game is at such a level of quality, it's going to be really difficult to win Game of the Year this year. I mean, I think Kojima just made it even harder. And Pathalon Phoenix gifts a member. So much support lately. Thank you, Pathalon. You've gifted so many members lately, and I greatly appreciate it. I really do. I'm out here rooting for games like Expedition 33 to get to be able to sneak up on that podium because I think it looks really, really good. I'm obviously cheering for Ghosts of Yotei because it's the sequel to one of my favorite games. And Split Fiction, I think is up there right now already getting a nomination. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 did very well. Monster Hunter Wilds did very well. Critically, the user scores are a little iffy on PC because of performance issues. Raijin with 42 months of members. The ultimate answer of life, the universe, and everything is 42. 42 months, thank you, Raijin. 33 months at a VIP. 3 more till 3 years. How time flies. Thank you so much, SSJ Gohan. That gets us to 15, but we're going to go right to 16 because another one comes in from David Hudat with 13 months of memberships. Thank you guys so much. It really depends on how it lands. Death Stranding was high quality as well, but it had such a different take on engaging gameplay, world, and story. It'll be interesting to see if the reception it gets. I'll tell you what he needs to do, Robert. I'll tell you this right now. If Kojima wants to have the strongest chance he can to get Game of the Year, he needs to get the game in people's hands at the beginning of May. I'm not kidding you. I know that's a long time. I know that's a bit heavy. I know. I think I got a month of early access to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 because they knew people would need that amount of time to play the game. If he lets people have the game like 2 weeks before launch, I mean, it's cooked. They won't be able to play enough. There's no way. I would give it to people a full 2 months ahead of time if you can. As much, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever. However early he can get that game into people's hands, the better. So they can exhaust it and really, really play it to completion and roll credits. Just watch the Death Stranding 2 trailer. What just happened? I described it as like when you're like inebriated or high or having an amazing dream and everything seems crazy and yet also great, but you can't really explain it. It's like it's such an impactful trailer and I don't even really know what's going on. It's like emotionally impacting me and I don't know what's happening. Like it's very, very unique experience. Like what Kojima brings to the art form of gaming, I think is special because Death Stranding 1 was heavily criticized for being a walking simulator, but it's really aged like wine. I think more and more people have gone back and been like, there's actually more to this game than what we were making fun of on Twitter with like funny screenshots and clips. DP Sage with 35 months and a member plus, so close to 3 years. Continue the good work, homie. Thank you so much. And that bumps the member count to 17. Thank you. It's a crazy drug. It's cerebral. Those early drops need to really hit for the product to last in the minds and stay above the later arrivals. But recency bias has not dictated game of the year in a long time. Mike and a Mike with a $5 super chat. That shirt is fire, my friend. Good morning, chat. Thank you. Yeah, I decided to wear Black Panther. I like this one. He's like literally coming out of the shirt, right? Because of the black fabric, and that makes it nice. So like, there's not a ton of ink. Sometimes like the shirts like this are almost heavy because all the ink on the front of them. No, this is not. We don't have a shirt command for this one. There's no sponsor attached to this one. Kojima's a big fan of cinema and weird artsy films. Especially what he pulls off with the guy at the end who looks like Snake. I feel like this is gonna be one of his most personal games. I don't want to speak for the man, but I'm like, I think this is personal. This is a statement. He's not just like, yeah, it's the sequel to Death Stranding 1. He's like, oh no, this is very, very personal for me. It has magnum opus vibes. Like the trailer it's like this is his. There's something more to this to me. I don't even know. And what's crazy is I wish I could make time for the first game. We were talking about this in Morning Coffee. I'm like, if I try to play Death Stranding 1 right now, I can play for about an hour or two a night between now and when the game comes out. I'd have to ignore every game that comes out in this month, in 10 days, is AC Shadows. And then April, there's Expedition 33, and I think there's something else in April that I'm forgetting. And then there's all the games in May that we already listed, like Doom, The Dark Ages, and others. It's like, dude, there's no way. There's just no way. There's no time. There's no time. I got to become a full-time, gameplay streamer if I was going to make time for all these stinking games. It's just unbelievable how much they've stacked up. Isn't South of Midnight April? I think it is. South of Midnight's another one I'm looking forward to. You could at least get into the heart of it. You could finish the story in about 20 hours if you push and play on easy. Wait, you can play it on easy? Because I just want to have the experience. I want to let the music, wash over me in the living room and, watch the scenes. And I've seen so many really cool, montages from Death Stranding 1. I know I'm missing out. I know I am. I really do. I'm trying to move back through my backlog. I really am. I'm making a concerted effort to start going back through games that I think are worthy of playing, like Plague Tale Requiem. I finished recently, and I loved it. Both the Tales of Iron games, 9 Souls. I rolled credits on Space Marine 2 and Kena Bridge of Spirits, and then Split Fiction recently with my wife. I'm working through Ender Magnolia. I'm trying. I'm absolutely trying. Yeah, I don't want to rush it. That's the other thing. I don't want to rush the first one. Drop it to the lowest difficulty and power through the main story only. Not the full experience, but definitely enough to understand how special the game is. I made a Death Stranding 2 music video on my channel, says Wooly. Send you via... Yeah. Send me a DM, Wooly. A member plus from Siriu, 10 months. So many games this year. No one can tell me this gen has been bad. I know. I really wonder what people are going to do with all their negative narratives about gaming sucks, is bad, is dying, is cooked, is trash, is woke, is not fun. I'm like, I don't know what you're going to do with all those narratives, man. We're hitting a really, really good cadence this year. We're hitting a cadence of you're going to have to make tactical, precise decisions about what you buy and play, dude. You know what I'm saying? Set it on easy and you can main it in 20 to 30 hours. I don't know if I can do that before AC Shadows. Now, I could obviously play AC Shadows for a week or so and then put that down and wait for the co-op update so I could play it with my wife. I could probably do that, but I don't know. I feel like AC Shadows is going to hook me. I just have a feeling. I played Ronin for 47 hours. I feel like Shadows is going to pull me in. If I was Lono, I would do a video, catch up on the story. There's no way to power through the game in 3 months. I did all the side stuff in the main, and I'm at 60. Played on higher difficulty as well. Not only has tons else to play, that's going to be the issue. I basically have 10 days. I have 10 days. Can I do it? If I did 2 hours a night, that's 20 hours. I would basically have to stop, and my wife and I are really enjoying rewatching Daredevil from the beginning. I'm not going to watch the latest episodes until we're through, and there are so many things I forgot. I'm really glad we're rewatching it. $2 super chat from Borbor. Sheep only recognize sequels or souls. It's sad. I'm not sure what you're trying to say. Are you saying that the people that are being negative only recognize sequel or souls? They don't. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Are you saying that about us, or are you saying about the people that are being negative? 10 days to do what? Well, 10 days before Assassin's Creed Shadows comes out. To be fair, I ran through God of War Ragnarok in one weekend. I think that's a different kind of game, though, than Death Stranding 1. Death Stranding 1, you can 100% see why... playing it fast is not ideal. It's not a game to be played quickly. It's a game to marinate in, really soak it in, I hope Punisher gets renewed. I think it already has been. Are you watching Defenders after Season 2? Because Daredevil Season 3 picks up right after Defenders. No, we're not going to go that extreme. Can't comment on AC Shadows yet until the 18th, but Death Stranding experience will have an impact on your perception of art in a meaningful way and is worth it. I don't say that too often either. You son of a guy. I will come to town and we'll get steak, and then I'll give you a little punch in the arm for that, because you're making this difficult. You're making this difficult, Seeds. I've seen your guns. I know you can take it. You could take a little, little tiny white guy punching you in the arm. You'd be like, you would think a mosquito bit you. With Death Stranding, You have to live in that world to truly get out of it what the game offers. That's right. That's right. Johnny Bernthal on his dark upcoming Punisher Disney special. I'm getting the opportunity to tell the story that I think the fans deserve. It's not going to be Punisher Light. I promise you that. I'm telling you. That's right. My boy Johnny Bernthal. He confirmed it. That's Frank Castle. Nobody else. Nobody else. That's like RDJ to Tony Stark. Nobody else can be Frank Castle, dude. Is AC Shadows meant to be very good? I know a couple of people got the full game early. I think it's going to surprise folks. I think it's going to land mid-80s on Metacritic. I think it's going to do commercially well. Yeah, I think it's going to be excellent. Guys, really strong turnout today. I don't know where y'all are coming from, but maybe YouTube just fixed its YouTubiness, and I'm back on your homepage. Always double check that your subscribe notification bell is set to all. A lot of those got changed recently. They made some changes. They broke a bunch of APIs, like Social Blade's not even working anymore. It's not tracking daily views. So thank you guys so much for being here. Do me a real quick favor and smash that like button. Let's get to 300 likes really quickly. YouTube sometimes doesn't save your likes, so make sure it saves your thumbs up. The main quest is like a third of the game. Full offering. You'll never experience the best parts just doing the main queue, says Eugene. And Brett hitting that upgrade command. SDO says, wait, what? What did I say? What are you saying? What did I say that you're saying wait what to? Smiley with 38 months in a VIP says, too many games to play, and we still have the Switch. We have the Switch 2 coming. The Switch 2 is coming sometime this year, and now we're one away from 20. Thank you so much, Smiley. Even better if I come to town and buy steak. You play through Death Stranding, and we have a high-level conversation about it and its impact on the art form. What the frick, man? We would do that in a podcast anyway. Stop, dude. I don't have time. Adam Lee bumps the line to 20, and he sets up an easy one. We'll see if we can't get the first 5 bomb of the week to 25, and then I'll owe you guys some members. The Direct is next month. Yeah, the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is almost here. There's allegedly an Xbox partner preview this month. Jiminy Christmas. Oh, yeah, thank you, Space King. I did not see that. Thank you, Space King. Let's see here. Okay. The Direct is next month. Lone will just play Death Stranding 2, and you'll get the experience of abstract art. Where do you predict Death Stranding 2 landing on Metacritic? Probably like a 90 to like a 93. I'm serious. I think he just locked up lead position. There's Hickman with the Member Plus. Thank you so much. That bumps the line when you guys renew. That's why you want to be at Member Plus and VIP, man. Supports the channel directly. You're making room for other people to get that gifted. Respectfully, I can't get into Death Stranding no matter how many times I try. The gameplay is so dull and a chore. I can't see Lono ever getting into it, but Lono definitely should try it just to see. I was getting into it when I played it on stream. I just decided I couldn't stream it because the difficulty with trying to stream a game like that is it has to be compelling. We also had to turn all the music off or it would get muted, which absolutely hurts the experience of that game. So, yo, what's good, Gamer Boy? How are you? Death Stranding has the best gameplay of any open world game, in my opinion, says Dave. I put 115 hours into Death Stranding. Mass Produce says, completed the highway system and built a solid zipline system in the mountains. I'm ready for part 2. I am jealous of people that have been able to do that. Guys, double check that YouTube didn't ignore you when you hit like. It's doing that thing again. We were screaming on the like count and now it's acting funny again. So make sure it didn't ignore you. You tell it to save your like. I'm gonna go 93 to 95, says Detective Seeds. There's gonna be more action in this one. Yeah, I think it lands 90 to mid 90s. Yeah, 95's tough, but 95 is so hard to hold on to. That's why I'm thinking like a 90 to a 93. I think he just took lead position, and people are like, the game's not even out yet. I'm like, I know, but just listen to me. When everybody saw the trailer for Oppenheimer, they were like, yeah, that's probably taking Best Picture. You just know. You look at the cast, you look at the director, you look at the tone, and you're like, yeah, there's your front runner for Best Picture, okay? The trailer for Death Stranding 2 on the beach, the pre-order trailer, I'm here to tell you, it just took lead position. There's just no way. The other games coming out this year, this is not just some sequel. This is not just some other game. I think that Kojima operates at a higher level. And I think the minute he put Snake in the trailer, he got everybody's attention in a more personal way. I think he got everybody's attention. People still don't get the idea of a jury. I'm not sure what you mean, Eugene. I think 90s also because people over time realized how good the first one was. That's what I mean. I think the first one aged like a fine wine and that people will be more receptive to this one, I think. Who's on it, what they look for, who they see as better than others. Congratulations on your haircut. Super stylish. I didn't get a haircut, but I appreciate you basically telling me I'm having a good hair day. It'll probably still not resonate with some reviewers. Some people don't like Kojima weirdness. Oh, is that what you're saying, Eugene? Are you saying he's not going to be able to secure a high score because of the way that people kind of respond to his content sometimes? Like, they're going to be like, yeah, it's too weird for me. Because, like, Deuterino is potentially correct. I mean, people might say, it's too much of an acid trip for me to get immersed. They might not like it. I might replay the first game soon. I just find the lack of gameplay variety to be draining after a while. I'm a completionist, and that game takes long. I actually think if you finish Death Stranding, says Detective Seeds, it would be your second favorite game behind Sekiro, maybe third since Hellblade is probably your second. My favorite game of all time is Hellblade 1, followed by like Tsushima, Returnal, Sekiro. Yeah, I feel like Death Stranding 1 would probably take a top spot. Just based off of the people that I typically align with on games give it such high praise. How many inches does your hair add to your height? I think 2.5 to 3. It gets kind of long, it starts tipping over, and that's why I get it cut, because I can't have that. I've got to maintain. Well, I try to maintain hair to forehead ratio, which is difficult because this is like a landing strip. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you guys have ever watched, like, Ralph S. Mouse, like, he could land a plane on this. I mean, so I've got to kind of try to match, hair to forehead ratio here. Yakuza Pirate is here, too. I don't think Yakuza Pirate did as well commercially. I'm sorry, critically. So I don't know if it'll be snagging a top spot. Yeah. Death Stranding 2 is not a delivery game. It's a horror game with guns, bikes, cars, one of the best atmospheres. Yeah, I'm saying, like, atmospherically, I think I could get super immersed in the game. You guys have to remember, I've really changed as a gamer. I really have. Like, chilling out on the couch with this game for a couple of months would be a dream, but we're not in a drought. We're not in a drought. I need a drought. We're about to have a deluge. It's the opposite of a drought. Speaking of your favorite games, how do you feel about the story of Returnal? I was hoping for something more hopeful or with a resolution. No, I love it. I love its raw honesty. I love how Returnal has a raw honesty about what guilt and shame can do to a person and how it's essentially a prison. Oh, I freaking love it. And I love that it's generational. If you play, you have to play through Tower of Sisyphus to get other elements of the story that gets added in. Like generational mind traps. Oh my gosh. I think it's just so raw and so honest. That to me, I really do. I appreciate the way they've told that story in Returnal. I don't think you always need a resolution. I think we pine for one. I think all good stories have crisis, struggle, and resolution. I think, the crisis of Returnal is that you're stuck there. The struggle is trying to get off. The resolution is realizing that she's stuck and that it's self-made. Like, I think that's beautifully said. I think it's beautifully told. It's a tragic and honest story. It's one of my all-time favorite games. It is beautiful at every level, I think. In execution of game mechanics, writing, dialogue, creativity, the ambition to create a third-person adventure, bullet hell rogue. Oh my gosh, that game just doesn't get enough credit. It really, really doesn't. To me, it was game of the year. It was unmatched that year. Deathloop had no business being up on the podium. Returnal was unmatched, and the main reason it didn't get the praise that it deserved was Biome 3 was too hard, and a bunch of journalists couldn't get past it. I couldn't get past it, which is unfortunate. My opinion of the game completely changed once I could get past Biome 3. I don't like Souls games or rogues, but I stuck with Returnal as I liked the gameplay. I got to Biome 2, and I loved it. Is Twitter down? It was acting really, really bad earlier. Yeah, it was acting up. Lono, you're telling yourself you have to play Assassin's Creed Day 1, push it back a little while you beat Death Stranding. Well, I do need to play it Day 1 to stream, Michael. I appreciate that, though. I think you might be right. I could definitely play it Day 1 and be like, it's good, I like it, I could see finishing, and wait for the co-op update. We have very, very good intel from Insider Gaming that they're basically going to be pushing out a co-op update to AC Shadows. Guys, if you've never been here before, we are having a really, really great day and a really strong turnout. Make sure you guys are pushing the like button as well as subscribe. And hey, somebody ordered some coffee. Dragon Stalker picks up 3 bags of the Frickmas blend. Guys, make sure that you are supporting the coffee as well as the channel. If you're doing memberships, if you're doing, gifteds or your own memberships, that's fantastic. But also, the coffee's there for coffee drinkers. Do you think Returnal beat out It Takes Two for Game of the Year in 21? Yeah, I think Returnal's a better game than It Takes Two. I think It Takes Two was worthy of the nomination, but if Returnal's Biome 3 was balanced at release, if the critics and the journalists would have had the complete experience, I think it would have completely changed the narrative. I think it would have been appreciated at such a higher level. It would have had a much stronger score. There are so many things about that game that make it special. And I played It Takes Two like 3 times the completion. And Detective Seeds with the 10 bomb, the first bomb of the week. And he sets it up nicely for a 20 bomb to 50. We'll see if anybody takes the bait. Seeds. Mama, what do you... Stop it. You are not allowed in the studio right now. In here breaking all the rules. The co-op enhanced the experience for sure. This is what I was trying to say, Eugene says. Metacritic doesn't matter for Game of the Year. It only provides an indication of how well a game was received. It doesn't account for feelings of the true jury. Knowing that jury and what they look for, it's not difficult to predict that Death Stranding 2 is a Game of the Year frontrunner. Okay, now I understand your position, Eugene. Thank you for taking the time to screenshot like that. I know that's a pain in the frickin' butt, but no, yeah, I think you're correct. I especially think that because of Kojima alone, as well as his inclusion of Snake in the trailer, and again, the quality of the game, and what we're seeing with respect to the graphics, the scope, the characters, the actors, the writing, the voice acting. It's like this game is going to be a monster. I truly believe that Kojima just jumped in line and was like, I'm getting that dadgum trophy this year. I'm serious. This is like when listen, trust me on this. I got a bunch of hate for this when I said this about Astrobot. I saw a trailer for Astrobot and I was like, that's a Game of the Year contender. And then the previews happened and I was like, I think Astrobot's headed for Game of the Year. And then the reviews happened and I was like, oh buddy, it's coming. I'm telling you, I think the same thing's going to happen with Death Stranding 2. I'm looking at this trailer and I'm saying, how do you beat that? GTA 6. I think GTA 6 is going to have the harder time. I really do. I think there's so much anticipation for that game and hype for that game. I honestly think Rockstar is going to have a harder time. And I'm not even saying that that's fair. I just think that's the way it's going to go. That's just my prediction. I can be wrong. I'm making a prediction. This isn't the same as facts-based reporting. I'm just saying what I think is going to happen. They could easily want to give it to Kojima as a lifetime style award. Yeah, you putting frickin', I'm telling you, putting Snake in the trailer is a dadgum cheat code. It really is. Looks like a game of a decade. I'm telling you, it really does. It looks like almost like a generation-defining game. Like we're going to look back and say, yeah, 2025 was an insane year. It was an insane year of games coming out. Like, there's so much. Pardon me. Lono, in my opinion, GTA 5 came out in 2013. They let themselves cook. It'll be a heater, a straight-up banger. Oh, I believe it. But I'm here to tell you, I don't know. There's something about the way that this trailer is put together, I think Kojima operates at another level, and I feel like the best version of GTA 6 is just an amazing GTA 6. Like, I don't know if it can, like, escalate itself beyond that station. An amazing Doom, an amazing Kingdom Come Deliverance. Like, these games are so great, and then I feel like Death Stranding 2 is signaling we're going beyond just great game. I'm serious. Like, he's escalating beyond the station of just, oh, it's a 9 out of 10 video game. No. I think it's going to be one of those things that, like, people roll credits on and they're going to say, I don't even know what to say. That it looks like a game that's going to tell people are going to describe it as like a masterpiece. It's like high level art in the form of a video game. Throughout his career, he's been ahead of everyone else. I think there's a reason that there's Kojima worship, and that's not what this is, because I'm not a Kojima fanboy. Like, I'm late to PlayStation and missed out on all of his bangers. I really am. So I'm merely observing. Okay, I've been doing this for a decade. I've seen a lot of trailers. I've seen a lot of games. I've seen a lot of releases and a lot of Game of the Year winners. And I'm here to tell you that's your dadgum front runner right there. It's your front runner. So hyped for Death Stranding 2. What do we think the current Game of the Year candidates are? So Death Stranding 2, I think, just secured the lead position. I think Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Monster Hunter Wilds and Split Fiction are up there. I think those are 4 almost guarantees. I think the remaining 2 spots are going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight. Yote could get in there, GTA 6. Then I think Expedition 33 is going to surprise people. I think that's one of those, like, sleeper, scrappy little team just hits. I think people are going to really like Expedition 33. There's Doom the Dark Ages, Jiminy Christmas. There's Mafia the Old Country. It's crazy. Yeah, there's going to be a new Mario almost assuredly for the Switch too. You know what I mean? You talked about Lords of the Fallen being a Game of the Year contender based on the trailer before it launched. There's a difference between saying something could be a contender and then saying, no, this is a front runner. Like, and truth be told, Lords of the Fallen could have been a contender if it would have launched in a better shape. It was really, really rough around the edges. The art style was creative. You know, the mechanics in the game were creative. I thought it had a really, really good shot. It really did. It was a strong game from direction, from art direction, and from a mechanical innovation standpoint. I thought it had a shot. And then it launched and it was really, really rough and it didn't do well critically. I can't control a game's quality. This is why I said Astrobot, once the previews hit, I'm like, that game's going for Game of the Year. You watch this little homie, he gonna take it. And then I'm looking at Death Stranding 2, and I'm like, Kojima doesn't, his games launch at just such a quality. I'm like, I don't think you have to worry about it landing like a Lords of the Fallen. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're trying to pull a receipt pull, I think I've done in a very, very consistent job predicting what gets nominated and what wins Game of the Year. So you've got me on Lords of the Fallen trailers looking like a very high caliber, high quality game, and then it wasn't. It launched at a very low quality. It had a lot of problems. Street Shadow with 11 months says, as a Kojima fanboy, this is peak Kojima. It makes me very interested in what OD will be like, and then eventually Physics going to be crazy. Yeah, he's in like the era of time where like this is when you make your magnum opus, and that's this. Death Stranding 2 has got like magnum opus vibes. Like, this is it. He's wanting to make he's entering his masterpiece phase, you know. Lords of the Fallen overall after a couple patches was a very good game. Yeah. And I also am saying something very different. You'd have to go back and look at what I said on Lords of the Fallen. I'd have to go back and look at my exact commentary, because I don't know my exact phrasing and commentary back then about Lords of the Fallen. I'm speaking very differently about Death Stranding 2. I'm making very strong claims. I'm like, I think this is your front runner right now. This game is already showing itself to be at a caliber, at a scope, and at a quality level that I don't think anything's going to be able to match it this year. That's what I'm predicting. Do we know if he had an idea for a longer story before? I'm not sure what you're asking about Death Stranding. I totally disagree. His masterpieces were MG 1 to 3. MG 4 and 5 are poor. Death Stranding 1 was very good in my opinion. I would say that you're good at predicting stuff in the fall time period. Saying stuff so early in the year is different from when you predicted the noms before. Okay, but we saw an Astrobot trailer in May, and I said, that's a Game of the Year contender. And then the previews were only like a month or two later, weren't they? When were the previews? I think they were like a month or two later. We're not that far off. We're in March. So what? Did you see the trailer? Who cares what month it is, Lone Wolf? I'm telling you. This is like when you see a trailer for something like Oppenheimer. You're like, yeah, there you go. There's your dadgum best picture. It's a trailer? Right. Listen. No, that's not a channel record. We've had way more than 700 people watch before. Listen to me now. Saying it's just a trailer, you're not saying anything. You're not. It's a trailer that contains gameplay, graphical fidelity, scope. It contains the characters, the writing, the acting. It contains so much more. This is not a 60-second montage. It's a 10-minute statement. It's a 10-minute trailer. Trailers are meant to hype. Right, but assessing the quality of a game with respect to like scope, graphical fidelity, art direction, creativity, like looking at all the different things that he's showcasing in this. This isn't some montage where I'm like, that looks sick, bro. It's like, no, this is more than a trailer. The man can't even put out the cliche 1 to 2 minute trailer. He dropped a 10-minute trailer, and the last one was how long? Wasn't it also around this long? Just ridiculous, the length of these trailers. I don't know what to say. Yeah, I don't know why the question command is broken. Is Nightbot not working, like, at all? Is Nightbot just, like, fully broken? I think Nightbot, like, stopped working. It was a couple of days ago. I think YouTube broke a bunch of stuff. Like, they broke... Social Blade doesn't work anymore. Social Blade's no longer tracking daily views. I think they broke Nightbot. Anybody downplaying the trailer needs to stick to FIFA and Madden. I've seen a trailer like Death Stranding. Oh, I've never seen a trailer like Death Stranding 2 before, ever. Yeah, Nightbot's gone. I don't know if I can go and have him... I think I can go on the back end of... let me go on the back end dashboard and see if I can tell him to join the channel. Oh, it looks like maybe Nightbot has changed, and maybe I need to make him rejoin. Lone Wolf says, again, I'm not saying it won't win or not get a knob. I'm saying I'm not comfortable agreeing with that sentiment being so early. No. Nightbot cannot manage Mike. What? Nightbot's wanting to like control and manage my stuff. I'm not comfortable with that. No way. We're gonna have to come up with a new chat bot. Because Nightbot's wanting these permissions. It says view and manage your assets and associated content. Manage your YouTube account. Nightbot already has some access. I just want the Nightbot dashboard. I don't need all this other stuff. It won't. It's saying it already has access, but I can't log in because it wants new permissions. And I'm not doing that. No way. As of right now, it's the front runner. Something would have to go wrong or another game just blow socks off the jury, says Eugene. If it gets hacked, your channel's gone. Yeah, I'm never going to give a bot that level of control. Yeah, sorry. We'll have to come up with a new solution. I can't get to the back end of Nightbot without giving him new permissions. It's glitching out. If I don't give him the permissions, I can't access anything. Kojima puts out long trailers, though. Metal Gear Solid 5 would have like 8 or 10 minute one. It feels like people are getting into Kojima with Death Stranding more so than he has changed. I wasn't trying to indicate he had changed, Paul. I was saying this isn't just like a normal trailer. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not, I'm not responding to a 60-second montage of hype. It's a 10-minute trailer with an unbelievable amount of things to analyze and look at. I think Death Stranding 2 is going to do much better than Death Stranding 1 because reviewers and players have already played Death Stranding. They know what to expect. Yeah, I don't think it's going to feel like this strange puzzle that they can't solve. You know? It's not going to feel like this almost like bewildering puzzle. There's a reason why I've always gone by Autogon. Everything Kojima does is gold in my eyes. Weren't people saying Game of the Year contender after the Starfield 45-minute showcase? I said that if the game came out and was as good as they were showing, it would, and it wasn't. Like, and I was very, very soft. I said I remember during the Starfield Direct, I said, if they pull this off, this could be, this may be a Game of the Year contender, right? They didn't pull it off. It didn't play or feel anything like those trailers. Like, there's a gigantic difference between, I feel like some of you guys are really desperate for a gacha here, so I'll give it to you. Like, if you want your gacha, fine. Then take the rest of the day off so we can just have a discussion and enjoy ourselves. Like, being like, oh, but you said this or you said that in past trailers. Cool. I was also a lot more soft in what I said about Starfield. During the Direct, I was like, this looks really good. This looks really promising and has a lot of depth and breadth. If they pull this off, this could be a Game of the Year contender. That's a very qualified prediction. I'm not being qualified right now. I'm saying this is your front runner. This is at a different caliber, right? We're not dealing with a Cyberpunk trailer that's cinematics. Like, we're not dealing with you know, specially crafted gameplay to make you feel like, oh my gosh, this game's going to be unbelievable. Saying something is currently the front runner is not some outlandish thing. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Not trying to bait you. So defensive? I'm not being defensive. Instead of just having a conversation, you're trying to like bring up other instances where people might have been excited about a game. I feel like we're not necessarily doing that. We're not like in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the Starfield Direct, or in the heat of the thing. You got to remember, my entire tune about Starfield changed about an hour later because they did an interview where they said it would be 30 FPS. And I was just like, well, forget everything I said. Your game's going to feel like dated trash. Who wants to play a 30 FPS game in this gen? Not me. My entire tune about that game changed when they did that interview. I was like, yeah, no, I don't think this thing is going to pull what we were hoping it would pull off. And then we got into the tiles and how those systems worked and how the loading screens worked. Dean Bromley with Member Plus, welcome back. Like, I think it's completely and utterly different. I don't think that there's a comparison to be made here. Death Stranding was nominated for Game of the Year in 2019. It is in no way outlandish to think that Death Stranding 2 will also be nominated. And a 5-bomb from Siege Master. That's what I'm saying, Paul. Thank you, Siege Master. Gets us to 37. I owe you guys some members. I was holding out to see if we would boost to 50. I think we were going to boost to 50, and I was going to drop a 10-bomb. My take on this is we're not saying that it's a guaranteed win. We're saying it's the front runner. It's in the lead position, right? Do you see, like, if something's in the lead position, 30 FPS has been proven to not affect purchase. Can you cite a report that proves that? I've never seen anybody cite a report or a data point that proves 30 FPS has been proven to not affect purchase. If it doesn't affect purchase, then why did Phil Spencer apologize for Redfall? Why do they patch 60 FPS into Redfall and Starfield and Plague Tale Requiem? Why did Gotham Knights try to hide the fact that their game wasn't going to have a 60 FPS mode? Why did Avowed try to avoid the subject until the very tail end, and they said in an interview in an offhanded way that you didn't need 60, and then they pushed to get a performance mode? Why did Starfield not put it in their Starfield Direct that the game was 30 FPS, but instead did it in an IGN interview, so it was more like not on the main showcase of the game? So in light of everything I just said about how the industry and the public has responded to 30 FPS, what data point do you have to claim that 30 FPS doesn't affect game sales? If it doesn't affect game sales, then companies wouldn't try to freaking hide it. If it doesn't affect game sales, if it doesn't affect the perception of the game, then these companies would not try to hide the fact that their games are not 60. They try to keep it a secret. They avoid the subject until the very, very tail end, and they try to slip it in oh yeah, it's 30. Lono does for pulling receipts what Bruce Lee did for nunchucks. If it's not a problem to sales, then these companies, why would you try to hide it? You would just put it in the Starfield Direct and be like, 30 FPS isn't a big deal. What do you mean? Of course, 30 FPS is fine. Everybody who tried to defend 30 FPS during that time period, you're no different than the people that just suddenly acted like exclusives are bad. It was just damage control. It's all it was. It was just damage control. If 30 FPS was totally fine, then Todd Howard would have said it with his chest in the Direct. And we have our game running at a very stable 30 FPS, and we feel that's okay as long as the simulation's running well. Look at any Rockstar games if the game has... Okay, so what you're doing here is a very, very terrible comparison. You're saying, look at Rockstar games. What, like GTA 5 that came out 12 years ago? What, like Red Dead Redemption that came out 8 years ago? You're talking about games that are close to decade or more old. We're not talking about 8 to 10 to 12 years ago. We're talking about right now. I'm dead serious. You should go watch my GTA 6 video where I predict it'll have a 60 FPS mode. I walk through the history of all of this, and I basically say, listen, the industry is loudly signaling that the narrative on this has changed because, and this all started with Gotham Knights in 2022. Gotham Knights in 2022, they timed somebody out in their Discord for asking if the game was going to be 60 FPS. That means they were on standing orders to look out for that question and to silence it. I want you to really think about that. There was a memo, there was an email, there was something where they said, if that comes up in the Discord, shut it down. We don't want people to know. Instantly timed out. All he said was, will Gotham Knights have a 60 FPS mode? And he was timed out for asking that question. Software dictates hardware. Developers will always try to push quality over FPS. I don't think that's happening anymore. I think you're talking as if you just jumped out of a time machine from 10 years ago. Like you woke up from a coma and you're like, oh guys, come on, everybody always pushes performance into the ground by overstating quality. No. More and more developers are not doing that. They're not doing that. They're not pushing the absolute limits of what you can do with graphics and then performance struggles. You have a couple of examples of poorly optimized games. You do. You have a couple examples of games that have been optimized poorly. Dragon's Dogma 2, Monster Hunter Wilds, but I think the lion's share of games that have been coming out have been able to hit consistent 60 FPS. They have been. Listen. You have to understand something. If you're correct, it would be a lot easier to prove your position. You could point to countless games at 30, countless games that run like garbage because they pushed graphics too high. You have to go to a very small list of games if you want to claim that 30 FPS is no big deal. There's almost no games that have shipped like that. And then they end up patching in 60 later anyway, like Redfall, Starfield, Plague Tale, Requiem. They all ended up patching in 60 later. That tells you that the dialogue around this has shifted, or it wouldn't be a priority at the company. If it's a priority at the company, if they're dedicating bandwidth, money, time, and developers to add these 60 FPS modes, then I think that your claim is got an expiration date on it. I think what you're saying is outdated. It's not true anymore. $5 from Siriu. Forcing console players to play 30 FPS is what pushed people to PC in the first place. And a $5 from Siriu. He doesn't just do a super chat. He does a gifted member, and he's going to get more of you guys in here. Guys, make sure and consider supporting the channel directly. Don't just wait for a gifted member. Get involved. Click join. Make sure you pick Member Plus. You get into the second side of this channel. You get into morning coffee and green room segments. But did Red Dead Redemption need a 60 FPS upgrade? No, it got over 70 million sales because it was a very good game. Again, you're not engaging with what I said. That was 8 years ago on old-gen consoles where that was the expectation. I was playing Destiny 2 in 2017 at 30 FPS. I jumped to PC as soon as I could to play Destiny 2 and Fortnite at 60 because it was running. Those games weren't running as well. We're not in that generation anymore, brother. Listen, just track with me here. All right, listen to the trajectory that I'm going to outline for you. You're talking about 2018. 2019, Project Scarlet marketing begins from Xbox, and they start banging on FPS. Oh, up to 120. Then the PlayStation 5 comes out, starts banging on instantaneous load times, 4K, and FPS. And then games start coming out. And then what happens? Internally, Mark Cerny and his team at PlayStation say more people are choosing performance over quality. Let's give developers the ability to do ray tracing, really great resolution, but not sacrifice frames per second. So you have one of the leading tech companies in the world right now in gaming. One of the lead. It's like what? NVIDIA, AMD, and Sony. Like these are your big dogs making technology for gaming. This is one of the lead companies that's saying we are going to focus on giving people resolution, ray tracing at 60. That signals very loudly that they're responding to the market as well as to the developers. Now, this trajectory that I just outlined for you pushes against your idea and your thesis that like, well, frames per second doesn't matter anymore because Red Dead sold really well. Yes. 8 years ago, Red Dead was one of the most highly anticipated games from Rockstar, and it launched on old-gen consoles. I'm going to add more to this argumentation, so hang on. Rockstar is signaling right now that for some strange reason, they see value in increasing the performance and the fidelity of Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, why in the world would they do that? On the runway to GTA 6 coming out, they're adding ray tracing and 60 FPS to the next-gen consoles, Series X and the PS5. They're adding an enhanced update to GTA 5 on PC that increases fidelity. It adds in the ray tracing. It adds in more ray tracing, higher frame rates, higher resolution. Now, why on earth would Rockstar be doing that 13 years after GTA 5 came out? What could possibly be the reason? Well, there's a couple. Number one, it matters in the market right now to have good-looking games that run really, really well. And I think they're testing. I think they're figuring out how can a game of this scope and size look better and run better. So they use GTA 5 as a testing ground. And now again, you have to ask the question. Now, why would a developer be doing that? Why would a developer be doing that in 2025? Because the market is signaling that it matters, that frames per second matters. If you want people playing your game and not saying that it looks old or feels clunky, you can't be running at 30 FPS. Do you think Death Stranding will get 60 on console? Yes, homie. I hope you didn't feel like I'm being dismissive to you. Do you know how good Decima Engine is? It's so good. I should find the report for you. There was a report that they did. They took Death Stranding 1, Decima Engine, and they put it on like a pretty weak gaming laptop. And with DLSS and upscaling, they were able to get like 4K 120. It was insane. It was absolutely insane what they were able to achieve. This engine is extremely optimizable. Let me find a thread for you. I found a thread on Twitter. It was really, really good. Right here. Let me read this thread to you. I think this will maybe help. Again, I don't want you to feel like I was being dismissive when I kind of laughed at the question. And maybe it's because I'm just like so excited about Decima, and maybe you're not yet. So here's a developer weighing in, says, the game avoids heavy use of alpha maps and excessive overdraw in its rendering techniques. Additionally, it leverages tricks like efficient LOD, level of detail management, culling techniques to reduce unnecessary geometry rendering, and the use of advanced occlusion culling. Imposters are used for distant objects where 2D billboards or simplified 3D models are rendered instead of full geometry to maintain performance. The game also implements a robust texture streaming system and employs dynamic resolution scaling to ensure high-quality visuals without compromising performance. This is literally what makes Decima so great, is it can look stunning, but they're not compromising on performance. Like, they want to give you both. I'm here to tell you that's the next era of gaming that we're going into. That's why I'm so big on this. I'm like, dude, don't let people give you a game that runs poorly. That's why I said Monster Hunter Wilds is like, that's one of the biggest problems in gaming right now, is that if your game is big enough and well-known enough and popular enough, you can sell 8 million copies of a game that's optimized terribly on PC and has poor image quality. Like, that shouldn't be happening. We shouldn't be accepting that. Not anymore. We're not back in the experimental phases of gaming. We're not. We're not in that era of time anymore. Games should run well and look well. I think that that's an acceptable expectation from these developers. And the whole consoles aren't strong enough, that crowd, they're the ones that defended Gotham Knights at 30. And look at their predictions. Look at how Hellstorm with a Member Plus renewal, thank you. Look at how terrible all their predictions were. Do you guys remember? Should we go back? Should we go back and receipt pull all the people who said when Gotham Knights released, yep, and these are the same people who whined and moaned and cried about the PS5 Pro being too expensive, and they also lied to the public and said they could build a PC for $700 to match the performance and the fidelity of the PS5 Pro, and nobody has been able to do that. You know what they also said? These are the same people that said these consoles aren't strong enough, and we're about to go back and enter a time where we get more 30 FPS games. Did time stop? No. It's 2025, and none of their predictions came correct. Do you want to know why their predictions didn't come correct? Because they weren't based on facts. They weren't reasoned out and do like analysis of what game devs are doing and saying and how the hardware works. They were ideologues. They were just ideologues. They were defending an ideology, and they acted like, yeah, we're going to go back in time. These consoles aren't strong enough. We're going to get more 30 FPS games. I have a question. Where are they? Where are all those 30 FPS games? Where are they? The games that were going to prove definitively that these consoles just weren't strong enough, and the Pro is a scam. I mean, are you sure about that? These people have a batting average of striking out. Like, they don't even have a batting average. They just miss the ball every time. My wish is that developers don't make a performance mode and a fidelity mode, because it makes me feel like I miss out on quality. And for games like Death Stranding, fidelity and graphics is important. Oh my gosh, you're literally describing everything that Mark Cerny said. This is what the customer wants. You sound like lock in step. You sound lock in step with what he said. He's like, people don't want to choose. And that's the whole point of the Pro, is that you don't have to choose. You get both. Did you see what AC Shadows is offering on the Pro? 4K ray tracing 60? Are you kidding me? Now, you don't get the reflective surfaces, but you get the ray tracing, you get the global illumination. The game's gonna look great. As again, hopefully they optimize it well. I'm hearing that it's going to look and run really, really well on the Pro. Yeah, I can't. I've got people DMing me on X, and I can't see the DMs. Yeah, X is having some serious problems. Twitter, that is. The issue is that I don't think the game is very deep as an RPG either. Oh, I'm not sure what game you guys are talking about. This guy, he says, two dudes playing split fiction is the very definition of ultra lame and gay. Real men play Gears of War in co-op. Hey, I know we need to make our thumbnail the next time I play split fiction with Hilly, right? Welcome to an ultra lame and gay stream of of two friends playing split fiction. Jiminy Christmas. Oh no, it's a game with two women in it. It's like they're worried that if they get too close to something that isn't like over the top masculine, that they're going to get like in the splash zone at SeaWorld. They're going to get like the gay splashed on them. They're like, well, I enjoyed a game where I played as a woman and and now I carry around a merce and like men. It was like instantaneous. I woke up in a fever sweat in the middle of a JC Penney, and I was holding a rainbow flag and carrying a purse, and I told everybody to call me Stefan. I don't know what happened, but the last thing I remember was I was playing split fiction with my friend, and now I'm gay. It's like they're the opposite of masculine. Like, that's the opposite of masculine. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't play that game. And a 5-bomb from Dean Bromley. He gets us right on the cusp of 50 members. Really doing great with pace. And now we're at 49. We need one more. Stephen Marston with 42 months and a VIP. Watching the stream at 60 FPS. So gay. Yeah, exactly. It's like if they get in the proximity of something where it's not like insane, just macho, grr, like they're like, yeah, I'm not going to be seen as tough. You don't look tough right now at all. You look like you'd be scared to wear a pink shirt. Dear Lord. Lona, you should play that clip for the wider audience. The one where what's really interesting, if you really break it down, they're basically saying they would prefer to play a game where they look at like a really, really tough, macho, muscle-bound guy. Listen, I got to tell you, a lot of you guys might actually be gay. I think that might be what you're learning about yourself. This is a learning experience, You're like, I'd rather play as Duke Nukem because he's got muscles and his hair looks nice, and I bet you that he smells good. The last thing I want to do is play as a woman. Oh. Okay. A single gifted from Rissick gets us to 50. Oh, man. Gamer Boy takes us to 51. That's Agent of Chaos. That's why we tried to name it that way. You want to make sure when you guys sign up for Member Plus. That gets you into everything. It's only $1 difference, but I can't tell the difference between when you sign up for Member Lite and Gifteds. You've got to bump up or I can't give you extra content. YouTube doesn't give us that ability. What's gay about wanting to be muscly and sniffing a guy's hair and stuff? Lost Scotsman's like, hey, this is what me and my friends do all of the time. What's the problem here? And a 5-bomb from Jeremy Hansen. And he gets us to 56 members. There it is. We're a 20-bomb away from the 75 milestone where I owe you more members. And we got a googly super chat says Night Rain, Death Stranding 2, First Berserker, Monster Hunter Wilds, Split Fiction, Monster Hunter Wilds. He said Wilds twice. Switch 2 is going to take a back seat with its PS2 graphics capabilities. Googly doesn't have the ability to celebrate games without getting a cheap shot in on Nintendo. He is undefeated. Every single time he super chats, he's got to take a swing at Nintendo. Abyss says, I'm a little behind, But the guy who said people buy 30 FPS games don't affect sales, well, it affected Lono's buying decisions. It's also affected my buying decisions. Once you go 60, you can't go back. Preach, Abyss. And there it is. Thank you for upgrading, Gamer Boy. I'm counting that as a double. You get the double dip. I'm making that a 58. You're the best. When you guys sign up at Member Plus or the VIP, you get to count as 2. You get to count as 2. So make sure that you do that. We really, really appreciate all the support of the channel. This is how I'm able to do this full time. I do this full time every day, and it's because of I've got a community that supports the channel directly, and I appreciate it very, very much. And I hope you guys enjoy me having a bit of a giggle at the guys out here, you know, calling everything under the sun is, I guess, is just not tough enough for them. Someone needs to do a skit where, like, the guy has, like, a daughter, and she's like, do you want to do a tea party, Dad? That's woke. I'm not going to do it. Can I paint your nails and put makeup on you? Are you kidding me? You know, just breaking his daughter's heart. Oh, if I do that, what'll people think of me? They'll think that you're secure in your masculinity and that you know, you're okay with doing something like that. Yeah, loving your children is woke. Edward says, Decima is ridiculous. What that engine has achieved in Death Stranding 2 is unbelievable. One of the best game engines in the industry, without a doubt. I wonder if the snake guy might be called Viper or something. Yeah, I'm wondering if they get cheeky with it, because Kojima, he did acknowledge that the character looks like Solid Snake. I think he's like saying he looks a lot like him. Like, you think he's saying he's not him. Does that make sense? Because if the character's name is Neil, right? But once he dons the headband, do you think he could, like, take on a code name? You know, like, that's maybe that's what he's thinking. I think that, like, all of a sudden he's referring to himself as something else. He's just reclaiming the iconography, I suppose. I rewatched the Death Stranding 2 trailer again, and why is there a head of Metal Gear robot on one of the big guys? I don't know. Did you notice the water physics in the trailer? Best I've ever seen. That's what I'm saying. I love that you're still here, by the way, Sanctuary. I love when someone comes in and we can have a disagreement and have different viewpoints, and we do it respectfully, and you're like, you're still here and having a good time. I love having folks in the chat like that. It really makes the day so much more fun. And yes, I agree with you. I remember the first Death Stranding 2 trailer, and I remember watching the scene where he's like walking and there's like a giant moon in the background, and I was like, bro, what in the world? How are they doing this? The scope of the game and the lighting, it seems unreal. And then the latest trailer even more so. Yo, it's good, Purple Haze. It's gonna be a critique. Yeah, it'll be interesting, Eugene. What if they will pick that up, and then what are you gonna do? Are you gonna go against Kojima-san? Are you gonna try? Go ahead. You want to do that? I mean, they're already losing that fight, so they'll lose more. You know what I mean? I love the environment calamities they added: floods, avalanches, eruptions, fires, storms, perhaps earthquakes. Yeah. There was one where it looked like the ground was breaking up. There was a dust storm in the one clip as well. Guys, if you haven't done so already, we're having a killer day. I'm really excited. YouTube's been a little weird lately, and it seems like maybe they've worked out some of the issues. Hopefully, I'm showing up back on your home pages. I know for a while there I wasn't. Make sure that you have your notifications set to all. And do me another favor. Make sure you have smashed the like button. That is an enormous help. Yeah, when he's walking toward that gigantic moon and the lighting and the shadows and the textures on the ground, what the heck, man? Yeah, June 26th. The Death Stranding 2 release date is June 26th. They put that in the latest. The name of the trailer is Death Stranding 2 on the Beach pre-order trailer. That was what they released yesterday. It's 10 minutes long. I've not gotten your notification for the last week for some reason, even though they are turned on. Who says it's the moon? I mean, it looks like the moon. What else am I supposed to call that? I don't, you know what I mean? If you're getting notifications and you don't click on them, sometimes it'll stop sending them to you. Like, how do you come to my stream usually? I have the notification set, but I never see you on the home screen. I have to look you up. 24 months from 8-Bit Dad, and he gets us one away from 60 members. Currently, I owe you guys 10 members. Keep it going. The skybox with the nebula or whatever. Yeah, this right here. What the heck's going on? Like, what is going on in this game? Yeah, there's the moon again. Jiminy Christmas. The lighting. I don't believe the lighting. I really don't. I don't believe it. Ain't no way. I want to see a Digital Foundry breakdown of this stinking trailer. I want to know, like, what are they picking up on with the lighting and the shadows? It doesn't seem possible. It's like when we watch that, what's that one called? Crimson something? And I'm like, bro, there's no way this game is real. There's just no way. It's just bonkers. The way Lono is with Decima is the way I am with Red. The Red engine's come a really long way, Fuzzy. I'm glad that CD Projekt Red indicated that they're going to be going back to it. Guys, it didn't save your likes on that last round. Make sure you're pushing the like button and it's saving. We only need 24 more. We could easily hit 400 likes like right now. And thank you so much for being here. If you've never been here before, it's a Monday through Friday podcast talk show about gaming, and I keep it safe for work. So consider hitting subscribe. That's totally free. Supporting the channel directly is something that we really rely upon. And so if you help out with that and you click join, just make sure you pick Member Plus. I do extra shows for you every day when you're a member. Red Engine is more PC oriented. I don't know if that's the right decision going back. I think they learned a whole lot of tricks. I thought Phantom Liberty looked incredible on my PS5. So I think they learned some tricks. I think that's why they wanted to go back. I think they were doing things for that 2.0 update, and they were learning and sort of navigating like how to update things and optimize things. And I think that update alone, when they were sort of working their way towards Phantom Liberty, I think they internally said, we can't stay off of this engine. We need to come back. And they said they're going back. Yeah, there was an interview. I can't remember the phrasing, Paul. But they basically said, yeah, we're not completely abandoning the Red Engine. I think they have plans to go back. I can't remember the exact phrasing, though. CD Projekt Red will return to Red Engine. I can't remember how they phrased it. Yeah, AI's got it wrong. They're saying that they don't plan to return. They're going to do everything in UE5. There was a newer interview where they made it clear they weren't going to stay outside of Red. They were going to go back to it. I think they said it. Maybe they indicated it. Maybe somebody could find it. I thought they said it with reference to the future of Cyberpunk. Not Witcher. We know Richard. We know Witcher is UE5. I subbed after hearing you on Porter Rock. I have a lot of respect on how you came to do what you do. Keep it up and keep telling the truth. I appreciate that a lot, Curse Kane. Thank you. Porter Rock was very gracious, and the audience over there was super kind. I had a really, really great time on that show. And you know, I thought we had a good conversation. What is this quote from, Eugene? However, it's going to take time to see the new technology migrate across to PlayStation 5 Pro. Our focus for 2025 is working with developers to integrate PSSR into their titles. In parallel, though, we have already started to implement the new neural network on PS5 Pro. Our target is to have something very similar to FSR4's upscaler available on Pro for 2026 titles as the next evolution of PSSR. What Mark Cerny just spoke to this. And a $5 super chat tip from Siriu. We're one away. We're one away from making some confetto. It should take the same inputs and produce essentially the same outputs. Doing that implementation is rather ambitious and time-consuming, which is why you haven't already seen this in. You've already not seen this new upscaler in the Pro. Oh, yeah, but the Pro's a scam, bro. Mark Cerny says the next evolution of the Pro is he wants to match FSR 4. Why can't I scroll over? There we go. Eurogamer's articles are so hard to read, like sandwiched like this. There it is! JW makes the confetti, and I owe you guys a member. And this is one of the times where I'm going to add to the total. I typically don't add to the total. I just respond to the total. But on the Super Chats, I'm going to go ahead and pay it forward to one lucky person. If you're here and get a gifted member, be sure to say thank you to whoever it is that made possible for you to get one, and consider upgrading. Consider upgrading to Member Plus if you want to get into all of the content. And then I am going to, the freaking chat is so laggy. Yep, there it goes. I knew it was going to crash. I could tell. I hadn't refreshed the chat in a long time on Chrome, and I was like, it's going to crash because I'm trying to reset the super chat goal. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here, and thank you for 400 likes on the video. Y'all are the absolute best. And then I will reset the super chat goal. We do that every 5 just as a way for me to pay it forward. I will gift a member and confetto. There we go. All right, let me pop out the chat. Freaking Chrome, dude, constantly crashing, just trying to like have chat open. Wolverine and Saros will have the new PSSR. Yeah, if you're talking about games in 2026, you're talking about Saros, you're talking about Wolverine, you're talking about potentially Intergalactic. They're about to enter the second half of this gen, and I think really cement themselves in such a stronger position. I told you guys, I said that the Pro would be market disruptive. This guy is going to be giving you, in a $700 console, the power that you're going to have once they start pushing these updates out beyond what we're even getting now. That's just crazy to me. Oh, that's the DM. Twitter is down, Wooly. I'll have to check that later. I can't do anything. I mean, I wouldn't check it right now. I would check it later either way. Ghost will have new PSSR. Its updates coming this month or next, they said. Oh, they're saying there is an update coming. And okay. So it will also... Does he mention Yote in this article? Phil doesn't want to hear you talking about the Pro. That's fine. A lot of people don't want you talking about the Pro. It's made a lot of people very angry. Just being excited about it and speaking about it factually has really frustrated some folks. Our focus for 2025 is working with developers to integrate PSSR into their titles. Does he mention Yote in this article is my question. To be clear, this technology has uses beyond PlayStation. It's about supporting broad work and machine learning across a variety of devices. The biggest win is when developers can freely move their code from device to device. All I can say is stay tuned. There's a lot of opportunity with our Amethyst collaboration, and we know that ray tracing is a huge part of the graphics future. I told y'all. I said we had that very, very first leak about the Pro, and when it said they set their targets on accelerating ray tracing, I told y'all, I said this thing's going to be market disruptive because that is speaking to developers. You're future forecasting by doing that. You really are. You're going to pull in... developers are going to really, really flock to that. They're going to love the idea that you're continuing to push a closed ecosystem piece of hardware to give them more stuff, to give them more leverage tech and better optimization. I'm telling you, that play, you're gonna see that play just continually work in their favor. It's a complete opposite strategy of what Xbox is did with Series S, and what Xbox is going to do with this alleged PC hybrid that we're hearing about. That was one of the other stories today that I put in the show open. Jez Corden from Windows Central basically saying that there is no Xbox dev kit for 2026. He says that, the rumor about Black Ops 6 being designed for the next Xbox, he said it could be that they just have like the projected specs and that they're building toward that, but they don't have a dev kit right now, and he doesn't think there's any hardware from Xbox next year, that it'll likely be 2027. And then the handheld is... with the handheld being a few years out, the handheld could also land that same year. The current PSSR is Kakin Level Mang, not even close to the final and ultra form. You're making anime references that I don't understand, but at the same level, I do understand the references. So... or they do, and he's doing damage control. What are you responding to, Jake? Insomniac Black with the $5 super chat tip. 10 minutes after playing Gears of War. I'm not gay no more. I'm delivered. I had to cleanse my palate. It was a leak. It wasn't a leak. It was an insider saying that he had heard that the next Black Ops 6 was being... the next Call of Duty was being made for 2026, was leaving behind old-gen consoles, and was being built for the next Xbox. That statement, being built for the next Xbox, could still be true. Jez Corden's just saying there's no dev kit in the hands of the studios right now. They could be saying, here's our target for... the next piece of Xbox hardware. Make sure Call of Duty is targeting that as like a ground level, threshold of performance. Wired Rope with a $5 super chat tip. PSSR is just FSR, but Sony doesn't have to worry about an AMD update breaking their games or halting development because they control it. Black Ops 6 was not good at all. Yeah, I didn't mean to say Black Ops 6. The rumor was about the next Call of Duty, basically Call of Duty 2026. And Jez was just saying that they don't have dev kits right now, which in his mind, that's also then related to timing. It's like there's no hardware coming next year is what he said. This is the second time he's shot down claims that some type of Xbox hardware is coming in 2026. I know there were lots of headlines and thumbnails that were claiming that, but it does not seem to be happening. When is the PlayStation handheld coming? I have no idea. Again, we could probably read in a little bit to what Cerny is saying about these tech advancements that they're pushing for. Like, listen to what he just said. They're wanting that this PSSR advancements to help and start to make landfall next year. So maybe they do have a handheld coming late 2026, and it's related to some of what he's talking about. How like next year is when they want to see. And thank you, Dylan, for gifting a member and gets us to 61 members. A nice strong start to the week. Thank you so much. That's possible. That's possibly why he's saying what he's saying. It could be at some level related to this handheld that we heard about. Somebody was saying I needed to use the F Konami hashtag. Yeah, I try not to put that kind of language on my timeline. The Vita was awesome as well. Yeah, we've talked about this a handful of times. Like, people are kind of poo-pooing frame gen, and poo-pooing not just frame gen but upscalers. And I'm here to tell you that they're your friend. They're gonna make gaming on a handheld significantly better. All they've got to do is work out some of the latency issue, the input latency issues that can come from frame gen. Why do the Xbox dudes want a handheld? Going to be a weak device and battery's going to be an issue. I mean, I'm not quite sure what some of them are kind of like hoping to get. I think a lot of it is, so there seems to be a general dissatisfaction from that side, and so what they'll do is they'll fixate on the next thing, because that creates the idea of hope. It creates the idea of momentum and quality. It's sort of like a mirage. You're always chasing it. It's like, oh, it's over there, and then you run. You're like, oh, it's over there. It's like when we researched last week, the whole PlayStation has no games and PlayStation, doesn't have a roadmap. And so we said, okay, let's look at the number of announced games that each side is publishing, right? They just have to publish the game, because that's them bringing a game to market, okay? According to Phil Spencer, that's first party. According to everybody who was celebrating Ninja Gaiden 4 being first party, because Xbox is publishing it. They don't own the studio or the game, right? So when we added up the games that PlayStation is bringing to market and have announced, it was like 31. If you include like the China Hero project, the India Hero project. Now, if you remove those, it drops them to like, I think in the 20s, but that's still more than Xbox. Xbox has announced and are publishing like 17. Now listen, you gifted a member? I know, I added it. So now listen, that doesn't mean one's better than the other. I'm just showing you that both companies have announced and are publishing and bringing a ton of games to the market. But when you're not satisfied, you're going to try to paint this picture that like, oh, we've got all this great stuff coming and you don't. People are like, well, we don't know when Yote's coming. Yeah, we don't know the release date of Yote. Yote might get delayed. Oh, okay, what about every single title that Xbox has announced that don't even have year? Like look what happened to Fable. Fable was like one of your biggest games announced for this year. Not surprised. It was in a showcase. It's part of a roadmap, and then it got pushed out of this year. That's par for the course with them. They put stuff in their showcases and on their roadmaps, and it all gets pushed and delayed. Towerborn, 33 Immortals, Fable, Avowed. What are some of the others? It happened with Alters. It's happened with Replaced. It's like so I don't get why people fixate on roadmaps and like, oh, they're where are your games? Where are your games? It's like you get a bunch of announcements that always get pushed. I don't know why you're celebrating. I don't know why you're trying to do a comparison here. Seeing you on Porter Rock, good interview. Oh, thank you. I had a good time. As an American, do you have a preference for Xbox or PlayStation? I don't enter the market and care about where I was born. I enter the market and look for good products. Like, if you make an amazing product and I want it, I buy it. I'm not like, oh, but it was made by, I don't know, an African subsidiary or a Chinese or Japanese or Russian company. I'm like, is the product good? Are they really amazing headphones? Is it a really, really nice, I don't know, controller, monitor, whatever? Like, when you buy your TV, do you do that? Or you're like, well, we better make sure. I don't do that. I'm just like, I don't know. If it's good, if the tech's good, I buy it. Why would I care where country of origin is? Like, now, if you want to get into like ethical purchasing of like, well, they mistreat the people that make the thing. It's like, well, that you're going to have a hard time buying anything. I mean, that's a different conversation entirely. I love Xbox, but I don't like the current administration and influencers. They're doing a terrible job. I've been pretty critical of it, for the last couple of years, and I think more and more people are going to flock to, either PC or PlayStation, and then Nintendo is always kind of additive for a lot of gamers. Like, a lot of people have a home gaming solution like a PC or a console, and then they also will get the Switch. So, I've bounced around. I've never really stayed put for very long. I haven't. I think with the forecast that we have now, I'll be on PlayStation primarily for a really long time. I was on Nintendo all the way up until like 1998 or 99. Built my first computer, went to LAN parties, played a lot of Quake and Unreal Tournament. And from 1999 to about 2007, so the year I got married, so in 2007, so 8 years, I got tired of needing to upgrade the rig just to play a new game. There was a handful of games I couldn't play or couldn't play well. I played a Star Wars game. It was an MMO, and sound was bugged. I got no sound. There were forums with no solutions. And then there were a handful of games that came out where I was going to need to upgrade my entire rig. So I bought a 360. So that was 2007. I was primarily an Xbox guy until 2017 when Destiny 2 came out. And when Destiny 2 was ported to PC, I think it was like 3 months later, I think. Then I switched to PC. So that was 2017. I was primarily on my PC for about 4 years. And then 2021 rolled around, and I started gaming more on my PlayStation than my Xbox, because Series X there was nothing to play. So I was playing like Returnal and Ratchet, and then 2022 happened, and it was like, oh wow, I'm playing Horizon, and then Gran Turismo, and I didn't play Gran Turismo, and then I played God of War Ragnarok, So at that point in time, I'd kind of fully pivoted back to being on a console as opposed to PC. King Mike with a gifted member. Thank you so much. It also helped that in 2020, we moved in to a house, and so I was no longer gaming in like my studio in my basement. I'm gaming out there on my couch. That also changed where I wanted to play. So I've been kind of nomadic. I just bounce around wherever I feel like I'm going to get the best experience. So, guys, the question command is completely broken, and I don't know how to fix it. Nightbot has left the building, and I can't connect to Nightbot on the back, so I am really sorry. That was a great feature that I don't know what happened. I'll read your question, Brett. What happened to all the people complaining PS6 is coming too early? Now they're celebrating a new Xbox as early as next year. Well, here's something you guys have got to realize. There is a growing propensity to say something not because it's true, but because you're trying to... I've kind of thought about this a lot. I don't think they're trying to win points. I think they're trying to irritate the other side. Like, I think they know. I think there's just been a lot of willful ignorance and willful deception going on. So I think they knew. I think people willfully knew that they were lying and misrepresenting when the PlayStation earnings call said, we're entering the latter half of the gen. IGN lied, misquoted them, and said, oh, PlayStation earnings call, we're entering the latter stages. So everyone freaks the frick out. I think they were all being willful liars. I think they were all like, let's just lie because it'll upset the other side. IGN does it because it generates clicks. Like, getting corrected on Twitter worked for a little while because you would have your tweet go nuts because you lied. Like, you literally tell a lie, and then the correction of your lie just makes your tweet go viral. They had tweets go viral because they were dishonest. Like, that's their currency. So I think there were also, console warriors and tribalists that did the same thing. They're like, well, if I say this, it's going to upset the other side. And then you end up wasting a bunch of time correcting like blatant falsehood. You're like, that's not true. They like that. Like, they get enjoyment out of that. That's the video game they play. They play upset the other side on Twitter. And I think when you see that that's what they do and you disconnect from it, you really just start to see, like, it's just so foolish. It's just a bunch of nonsense. Like, they knew that we were not nearing the end of the PS5 gen. They knew. They knew it wasn't true. And they propagated it anyway. Because they knew it would irritate people. They knew it would frustrate people. They knew people would spin their tires in the mud of foolishness of like, well, we have to correct this. Right? And they do the same thing with the roadmaps. They do the same thing with the goalpost shift on what's first party and what counts and what doesn't count and blah, 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 blah. I think I finally figured it out. They want you to be frustrated. They want you to be irritated and correcting the nonsense, right? I had somebody leave a comment and they're like, you always seem angry in your live shows. And I'm like, I think more of it is just an exhaustion and an irritation with the constant bad faith and the constant dishonesty. So I think one of the best things to do is just to start not giving it that power. It's like, I'm not going to get irritated. I'm just going to tell you, that just very basically, very calmly, like, what you're saying just isn't true. I mean, a guy did it the other day. And I engaged with him just sort of like, yeah, that just isn't true. I don't know I don't know why you're saying that, but it isn't true. And like, it just takes all the wind out of their sails. It's like, well, now what are you going to say? You didn't trigger him. You didn't get him mad. You didn't get him riled up. So I think that the calm and the more collected response really, really neuters the whole thing. You know, it's why I'm not responding to the targeted attacks, and I'm calling them what they are. I'm calling them what they are, but I won't engage. I'm not going to do that. It's a complete and utter waste of time. They would be thrilled if I sat here for 20 minutes or 30 minutes and pulled up their tweets that false frame me and lie about me, their streams and clips that lie. They would love that. Why? Well, because I'd be wasting my time. I'd be wasting my time promoting them, sullying my content with their garbage, and that's what they want. That's why they turn the heat up, because it's like, I won't do it. It's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to engage. So they just keep turning up the heat, because they want a response. When I finally do respond, they'll again lie and say I'm claiming that I'm a victim. It's like, I'm not. I'm not claiming I'm a victim of anything. Like, you're choir boys to me. You do nothing. So I think it's all a part of the same thing. It's all a part of the same thing. It's a desire to disrupt and frustrate another person. Like, I just wanted to celebrate the Death Stranding 2 trailer on Twitter yesterday, and some of the replies were just ridiculous. I'm like, what is the matter with you? Like, some of you people you're literally nuts. You guys are psychopaths. You're nuts. You're not healthy. Somebody's just excited about a game, and that makes you angry? Wow, okay. Like, so I think the way to take the air out of that room and take the wind out of those sails is like, you just don't give into it. You don't give into the, getting irritated and angry. That's what they want. Don't waste your time. Like, Nib spent an awful lot of time correcting somebody who's been consistently wrong and targeted me and misrepresents me regularly. And Nib spent a pretty good amount of time showing. And I was just like, I would never have the patience for that. I would never have the patience for that. I was like, I'm not doing that. I saw a hate vid and the guy brought up morning coffee. Yeah, I mean, that's a growing meta right now. YouTube kind of goes through metas of, and we're going through one right now. I think there's a growing sort of, it's a quick and easy viewership grab to do, sort of salt, rage focused content where, you're making fun of other people. I think that meta will shift. I think metas like that always shift. There's nothing enduring or transcendent about it. It's very, very transient. So I think this too shall pass. In 2 years, I think a lot of people are really going to be questioning, well, what should I do now? Or where should my content go? I think people will probably go too far and get banned. That's typically what happens when these metas arise as well. The people that lie like that do it in a way that it's impossible to keep up with all the lies. Right, it's like it's lies all the way down. So it's just like, what are you going to do? You're going to waste a lot of energy, You're going to waste a lot of energy. And here's the thing. They don't care. So like correcting them or exposing them for being hypocritical or inaccurate or unhonest, they don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's like telling a pig wallowing in the mud that they're dirty. They're like, yeah, that's kind of the point. That's kind of the point. So that's why it's fundamentally, to me, it isn't worth the effort. So my focus is like, if you come here and you say it, or we're having a dialogue, or we're looking at a report, I'm going to make it very, very clear. Here are the facts. Here's what happened. And I give my opinion. And I'm like, and I'll own my bias sometimes. I'm like, yeah, I'm really biased. I'm probably going to like that game more because I like that game type more, right? But I'm just not going to get into the, I'm not going to get into the mudslinging. And I said this morning in Morning Coffee. I observed what I felt like was astroturfing. And I described the behavior. And the response was to target me, attack me, malign me, and label me. Now, let me just ask you a question. If I said that you did something that you didn't do, I think the natural response would be to defend yourself. That's what I have done historically. If people accuse me of something, I'm very quick to say, that isn't true. Here's the evidence. They'll say, oh, you never criticize PlayStation. And I'll be like, bing, 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 bing. And I'll list literal videos and streams where I have. I've got a video where I called their showcase weak. I said they bent the knee. I said they completely screwed up the Helldiver situation. I called the thing with the login requirement on PC stupid. Okay. I very quickly defend against the false claim. You see? So the psychological response is to say, that isn't true about me. I'm going to defend myself. I think it speaks volumes that I made the observation that there's been astroturfing going on, and the response was, what's that? He's just a this. He's just a that. Let's attack him. I think that's a gigantic self-report. I think it's a gigantic self-report. I've been doing this long enough to know that when someone is accused of something they don't do or haven't done or isn't true to their brand or their content, they will come to their defense. They'll defend themselves and say, this isn't true. That's what I do. When people call me something or say something about my content, what do? I get angry and I respond with a defense and I point to evidence. I'm not like, oh, well, you're just a tabloid. Like, what? What is that? What is that as a response? I certainly wouldn't run into the arms of people that harass people on Twitter or make hateful, toxic content. I just think it says a lot about you and your response. All I did was make an observation, and that's the response. So I think we got out of last week everything I needed to know about how to proceed and go forward. It's like, I'm just going to continue to make observations, speak truth, and if the other side of this situation wants to hurl, names and insults and try to discredit me, that is the biggest and loudest neon sign of a self-report I think I've ever seen. The same thing happened 5 years ago when I brought out a bunch of evidence and facts and defended myself. What did they do? Remember? What did they do? They labeled, they tried to discredit because there's no response. It's like, well, holy crap, the dude brought evidence, the dude brought facts. What are we going to do now? So you've got to have that discerning view. So what we're going to do going forward is if I just try to cover something and I make those observations and that's going to be the response, there's just no reason to even go out there and respond and get into it. I really don't want you guys doing that with your time. Don't feel like you got to go on Twitter and like fight the fight. It's like, you're going to have a much better time if you're just hanging out in our Discord, playing games with each other, sharing articles, watching, like when everybody was kind of like watching the South by Southwest thing yesterday in the Discord, kind of hanging out together and like celebrating the trailer. I think you're going to have a much better time in gaming if that's what you do. I don't think you're going to enjoy, trying to combat a lot of this. So that's going to be my approach going forward. So because again, I was reflecting on it this morning and I was just like, because I watched Nib's video and it was like the second one that I watched, and I was like, I could do that, but I don't think it would be worth it. I don't think it would be worth the time. So, and no, I haven't talked about it for 20 minutes, but get your stopwatch out. It was 5. And I think it needed to be said. And we, sadly right now, we typically try to use the Q&A command. I don't know, are there other bots that people use on YouTube for their chats? Like, I can't get Nightbot back in chat, and in order to connect Nightbot with my YouTube channel, they want me to give it permission to like edit things on the channel, and I'm not going to do that. Do you guys watch other streamers? Do they have bots in their chat that we could use instead? Because we use one in the Discord, but I don't want to have to use that. We have a Q&A thing that you can do in the actual YouTube chat itself. I can start a Q&A, but it's not the same. I've seen a Streamlabs bot, but I know you use OBS. Yeah, I just don't know why Nightbot made that change. I don't know if there's a way to get into contact with them. Make your own bot. I mean, I don't have the ability to do that. I don't know if we can get into contact with them. They basically ruined their tool. It's like, I'm not giving you permission to edit my stuff on my channel. That's why we stopped using Streamlabs, because they edited the description of one of my videos. And I'm like, you don't have the right to do that. I appreciate you communicating against fighting on your behalf and wasting people's time. So many content creators use the excuse of, I don't control my fans. That's a YouTube disclaimer. If it can edit anything, all it has to have is that disclaimer. No, it's completely new permissions creature. It literally tells me, it says Nightbot already has some permissions and it wants more. I'll read it to you. I don't think this is exactly why we didn't want to use stream labels, because stream labels literally change the description of one of our videos. You read it? It says, view and manage your assets and associated content. Manage your YouTube account. It says, manage your YouTube activity, including posting content. It can manage your videos and playlists. They're adding new features to Nightbot that now require it to meet that standard. There was a video this morning on your and P-Rock stream calling you PlayStation fanboys that aren't talking about the games, never seen the name before. Report it for misinformation. I mean, you can request community notes, obviously, but just give it the permissions along with your full social security number. Right, Paul? Like, I don't want to do that. Like, Jiminy Christmas. It's just a bot. It already has access. It has access to 2 services. Associate you with the personal info. See your primary Google account. So I don't know why I can't just continue and not check these boxes. I should be able to just check one, or none, and still go onto the back end and use parts of Nightbot. And then it just loops me back and just says to continue with Nightbot. It like loops me back through. It's like it won't let me in. Yeah, I can't get there. I always love too when a website won't let you go backwards to your previous page. That's like my favorite. That's my favorite. Wait. Oh, yeah, I can't get to the dashboard. I just need like a link to the dashboard. I feel like I could get there. And I don't need all the new features. I just need the ones that we've been consistently using. I think whatever they pushed out probably broke the connection, would be my assumption. So until I reconnect it, it's not gonna work. Yeah, Twitter's been having all kinds of problems. Yeah. You guys are talking about games and gaming? Well, I just think you should pay careful attention to, like, how did we respond to Death Stranding 2 this morning? We were excited. We were talking about it. We were singing its praises. We were all like, man, this looks great, right? This is exciting. The people that are turning it into an opportunity to attack you or attack me or come in and, get all negative, I just think you need to label that as what it is. It's like, you're not really contributing. You're not contributing to the conversation, and you don't really seem to care about gaming. You seem to be more concerned with being unkind. Think about this. Using someone's excitement or fandom about something as a weapon against them, I just want you to think about that. It's like, if you really, really like a sports team, that doesn't bother me. If you like a sports team that I don't like, that doesn't bother me either. Do you see? I just think people go too far. It's like trying to weaponize your enjoyment or excitement about something. Like, take, for example, fighting games. So when really good fighting games come out, I usually try to celebrate that but then I can't really engage. And when people were like really excited about Street Fighter and Tekken 8 and all that last year, I was really pumped for people. Like almost, what is that? Where you experience it through another person. It's not by proxy. It's I'm going to vicariously. I vicariously enjoy the game through others. Right? I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Thank you, chat. Vicariously. Yeah, stream delay. I vicariously get excited and enjoy and can celebrate the game through your excitement. So like when people were really, really excited and in our Discord and celebrating Avowed, I wasn't in there being like, you got to be dumb to like that game. Oh my gosh, what a snooze fest. No, I was like, man, I'm so glad y'all are enjoying it because I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. Trill with the win. Where? Oh, Osmosis. No, not Osmosis. Yeah. It's kind of like Osmosis, but it's more like I get to be excited vicariously through the excitement of others. I don't know if you guys are like this. If you're in a place and you're having a good time and somebody lost something and they're trying to find it and they're frustrated, I can't enjoy myself until their problem is solved. Like them not having a good time to me, I'm like, well, let's figure this out and then we can kind of get back to having a good time. Like if we're somewhere and someone's like, you know, their foot's hurting or they're uncomfortable or they're like, they're not having fun or whatever. And they're not like whining, like, you know how kids are. Kids whine about everything. But like, they're genuinely like having a bad time. I'm like, oh, I can't have a good time because they're not having a good time. Like it affects me. So it's like, what are you trying to find? You drop something? Like, oh, okay. Like I've been at concerts before and I was like, to me, it's distracting that like somebody's having a bad time and they're, you know, not able to enjoy or engage or whatever. It messes with me. Empathy. I guess, like, if my kids aren't feeling well or, you know, we're somewhere and they're tired or they're bored, you know what I mean? Sometimes I'm like, yeah, you guys just need to kind of suck it up and deal with it. You know, kids struggle with that. But, yeah, I look at a lot of games that come out and I'm like, man, that is not a game for me at all. It looks so boring or slow or whatever, like the cozy sim games. That's the example I pretty regularly use. You know, the cozy sim games, I'm like, no way. But I'm always excited for the people that I know that like them. You know, because we go through this a lot when like we watch the showcases. I try to tell people, I'm like, listen, if you go in and you expect like 1/3 of it to excite you and another third to kind of maybe pique your interest, and then there's going to be 1/3 of the showcase that you just don't care about. Like, let's just say there's 30 games. Make it real easy. There's going to be 10, hopefully, that you're like, dude, those all look great. There's going to be 10 where you're like, so on. And then there's probably going to be 10 games where you're just like, I would never play that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think people could have a much better time during the showcases and during the events if they kind of went in with that expectation. If someone else is having a bad time and it's causing you to have a bad time, I refer to that as gaslighting. And no, I will not be taking questions. Expecting that much is still too much. I think mine's gone up, Eugene, because I used to say, I'm going to come away from a showcase or a state of play, and as long as I have like 1 to 3 games to be really excited about, I'm going to be pumped. But I feel like my palette has opened up, and I'm more inclined to like try a rogue or, you know, play a fun little indie title or, you know, try something like Expedition 33. I feel like I've kind of opened up my palette, so I expect to like and get excited by more games now than I used to. I used to go into a showcase and it's like, if I walk away with 1 to 3 games that I'm just geeking about, then I think that was a successful showcase, because expecting a showcase to just be, you know, 30 to 45 to 60 minutes of everything exciting you, that's not going to happen, man. Yeah, gaming this year, it's especially, I think, easy to go into a showcase in a state of play this year and to walk away really excited. Like, I remember I walked away from that state of play, and I was like trying to remember everything they showed. It was so many announcements. It was like, what was it, like 30-something announcements and/or games. Whew. I was playing Turok the other night. We had a late night with the kiddos. One of them wasn't feeling well, and they're fine now. It wasn't even that serious. And so I was playing Enter Magnolia, and Madam got tired, and she went to bed. So it was getting a little late, and I was like, Enter Magnolia, I knew, like, it's late, I'm having some drinks. I'm like, I'm going to start to play poorly, and then I'm going to get frustrated. So I'm going to stop, and I'm going to play a little bit of Turok. Dude, Turok, they have not modernized it at all. It doesn't save unless you get to, like, you have to go to those little stations, and you have to manually save it. Turok, the first Turok is, like, remastered on the consoles, right? I think it's on Xbox, right? I've been playing on PlayStation 5. Dude, though, that game is, I can't believe. Did you find the double jump? No. I don't have double jump, no. I got stuck in this section with these teleporters, and dude, I was so confused. I'm like opening up walls, and I'm like, I need to find a save point, and I ran past it. I didn't even see it. Like, I went in this room, and it was like over in the left-hand corner, and I went to the right to use the teleporter, and after that, I never went back in that room. So I'm like running around. I'm like, dude, I want to save it and go to bed. I need to find a save point. And I finally found it in that room. I'm like, dude, these games are hardcore from back then. I don't even know if I ever beat the original Turok now, looking back. I don't know if I did. I thought you were talking about the ugly one on the 360. No. The actual original Turok. Like the sounds and the music and the sound effects, dude, it takes me back. It really, really does. It takes me back. It's like, man, I really do. I remember playing it at my friend's house. I played it like all night. I played it all night, and it is tough. It's tough. It's cool. I think I have like 2 or 3 lives. I don't know what's going to happen if I run out of lives. It'll probably say game over. Yeah, it was prom night. Yep. It was prom night. The person that I wanted to go with went with my best friend, so I was like, well, I'm going to go to your house and play video games all night. I played Turok all night on the Nintendo 64, dude. And I remember, like, it was hard. 11-year-old me could never get past, like, the 4th level without cheats. Yeah, games back then, man, they didn't even try to make them, like, easy. There was no such thing as, like, check. What's weird is it does pop up and say checkpoint, but it doesn't save it. Because I played like a week ago, I don't know, 30 minutes or something. And, like, I remember it popping up and saying checkpoint, like, multiple times. And I came back the next day, and I was at the not the next day. I came back the other night, and I was at the very beginning of the game. It doesn't save it. You have to find those, like, little stations, and you have to go in and manually save it. Used to play Fester's Quest all the time. Old me doesn't understand how young me did that. Oh, yeah. When I did a Brono stream with my brother, and we were playing, I believe it was Perfect Dark. They had put in, was it in the Rare thing? I don't remember how we were playing it. Was it in the Rare remasters or something? I forget how we were playing it. And it was really hard. It was like, find the key. And that's all it says. And you're like, we couldn't find the key. we went to, like, every room. We opened up every door. Like, we checked every nook and cranny. And I was like, I don't know what we're supposed to do, bro. No, there's no waypoints. There's no markers. They're like, and I know people do that. They're like, they give me grief and say, I can only play games that hold my hand. And it's like, I've played plenty of challenging games that don't do that. Like, I rolled credits on Sekiro and Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring, and, like, those games don't hold your hand. I just sort of prefer not being in a quandary about where to go next. Do you know what I mean? I think some of it's because I have limited playtime. Like, one of the reasons I was able to play Sekiro and Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring is because we had like a designated time to play. But when I've got like an hour and a half in the evening, like the last thing I want to do is wander around your world or your map and achieve nothing because like you just won't tell me where to go next. Like, I was getting kind of close on Ender Magnolia. I was like, I'm getting a little irritated. I don't know where to go next. I missed this one room where when you kill the boss, you get an ability from the boss. And it was super hard to see on the map. So it's not that I'm like, oh, I can't play if you don't hold my hand. It's that value point of a game letting you figure it out, like on your own. I think that value point's really subjective to how long can you play. You know, if you can play for 4 to 5 straight hours, I think that value point hits harder. You're like, this is dope. I figured it out on my own. I solved the puzzle. It took me a while, etc. When you have an hour and a half, you might literally for that hour and a half do nothing. You're just like wandering around. You're like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. So the value point to me is very subjective, because I think back when we did From Fridays and I was able to play through Dark Souls 3, Sekiro, and Elden Ring, it's like I certainly can play those games and extrapolate value out of them, but I have to have longer periods of time in order to do that. I can't, it's so hard to extrapolate value from something that's that sort of withholding, like it's just going to be withholding and let me figure it out, let me solve it. I struggle to extrapolate value out of it, or extract value out of it, because it's like, brother, I only have an hour. Like, come on, let's get to the goods here. Let me get to the next thing. Yeah, and I don't like Googling for a guide. I really don't like Googling for a guide. That always feels like I ended up having to do that with Ender Magnolia. I was genuinely stuck. I was like, I've gone to every corner of the map and I can't figure out what I missed or what I need to do next. And it was this one section that I couldn't see it. I didn't see it with, I was like looking at it, and it was like right in the center, and it was just a boss I had to fight. Oh dear, what's going on, Fuzzy? Yeah, Twitter's like 100% down. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle releases on PS5 April 17th, early access April. Has this been officially announced? No, they're linking to some other site. Blue Sky's having issues now too. Yeah, Blue Sky's definitely having issues. Twitter's having issues. There must be. I wonder if AWS is getting attacked or having a problem. My guess would be it's usually something like that, like AWS or somebody is having issues, and then it causes widespread issues. Yeah, Bill Kun. I don't know how. I never know how to say his name. Bill saying that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming to PS5 April 17th. I actually kind of believe that, because that kind of lines up with Tom Warren saying that April was going to be like a really great month for PS5 users. So that's Forza and Indiana Jones. What else is there anything else that was rumored? I mean, the Gears of War collection right now, multiple people corroborated that they've heard about it. They've heard no PvP, but will have co-op, and then they've heard announced at the showcase. I believe that was corroborated. Or the bad guys have cut the C cables again. Hopefully not. I rush to finish some games because there's too many to play. Question test. Nightbot's officially broken. I have to give him such a high level of permission. I have to give him such a high level of permission that I can't do it. Chatbots for YouTube. Stream Elements has one. We've used Stream Elements before. I wonder if we could. I'll look into Stream Elements. Yeah, they have one. Best bots for YouTube Live. People are recommending StreamerBot. I've never used StreamerBot. We'll have to look into some bot solutions. Yeah, Nightbot basically added new it basically added new functionality, and I have to give Nightbot too high level of permissions on my channel. Like, I'm unwilling to do that. We have to give Stream Elements higher permissions than Nightbot? Really? What the heck, man? We need YouTube to give us a bot. I assume Gears Collection will release shortly after announcement. It's not the type of thing you have a long marketing window. Oh, you think they'll announce it and then like drop it like a month or shorter, maybe? A lot of them bots request near full access now. It's unfortunate. Is Nightbot in the Discord? I feel like Nightbot was in the Discord, but it was a separate, like he had a separate command list, like he was separate. No. Well, then who answers me when I use the PO command all the time? I can never remember my PO bot. Oh, Reforge bot. Okay. Is there a way? A Darkstorm team claims they've done a DDoS on Twitter, causing a major outage. Yeah, apparently they're getting DDoSed. You threw him out of Discord? Okay. Is there a way for us to get Reforge bot in the YouTube chat? Like, is that an option, or is that a specific thing to Discord? Could we give Reforge bot the question command, and then I wonder if there's a way to do it Discord only. Like, if somebody submitted a question in YouTube chat, I'd have to copy and paste it. That completely removes, like, the ease of functionality. You know what I mean? I don't know. All right, I owe you guys 10 members. I'm going to pay up now. I'm going to pay up on the members now that I owe. Thank you, everybody who has gifted or renewed today. A nice, strong start to the week. We also have a ton of likes. We had a really, really strong start to the stream, so thank you, everybody who tuned in and are still here. Make sure you're hitting the like button if you haven't already. Appreciate you guys so much. Hitting that like button definitely helps out the channel. It helps out the video as well. It helps more people find the video. I feel like YouTube did a handful of things lately, though. Like, Social Blade's also not working. So I'm wondering what they did. I'm really wondering what they did. Death Stranding 2 looking wild. Can't wait. Yeah, it really does. We were talking about it today. It looks like a front runner for Game of the Year. Like, it's just such a high caliber, such a high quality. You know. Well, at this point in the show, we typically just start grabbing questions. You can still ask questions. If you want to change the subject, bring up something else going on in gaming, or get my opinion about it, feel free to do that. We've kind of gone full circle with the Death Stranding 2 trailer commentary. PS5 Pro is going to be getting some PSSR updates in the future, and Mark Cerny literally just talked about it today. Funny, that's really funny that Zubitech made that observation that the updates will be coming soon, and now Cerny's doing interviews about it. We talked a little bit about Forza requiring the Microsoft login account on the PS5. We talked about, what else did we talk about? Apparently the Xbox coming next year, that got debunked. It seems to be debunked by Jess Corden. Death Stranding 2, does it drop it off mail like it did in the first one? I'm not sure what you mean. Red Engine's over. They moved on. In my opinion, they should have a deal with PlayStation for Decima. I swear they said CD. Let's look into that. CD Projekt Red Engine for Cyberpunk sequel. I swore they said they were going back. Did we misread something? I swore there was an interview where he softened up on the language, and it sounded like they would be going back to Red Engine. Like, we'll never completely leave Red Engine or something. I can't remember the phrasing that he said. No, yeah, we originally reported on that assumed Parasite that they were going into UE5 for all future projects, and I swore he did an interview later where it was like he softened up on the phrasing, and it sounded like, I think they're leaving the door open to go back to Red. I thought they were staying with Unreal 5. I must have misread something or misunderstood something. I think I'm wrong. I swore, because we reported on the switch to Unreal. I remember reporting on it. And I thought later, like 6 months later or something, there was some kind of a conversation about, like, it seemed like they were going to try to return to Red Engine at some point. 2 games off Red, then back on is what was said originally. No, the original statement was all future projects will be in Unreal. Like, that's what was said. It was very like, wow. And I thought he did an interview later where he said that, like, the door was still open, or that we would go back. I can't remember how he phrased it. It seems like, yeah, even Rumble's down. Yeah. A lot of sites are having issues today. You're right. They left the door open to Red. Leaves the door open for Red Engine. Yeah, I just it's possible that we read a bad headline or something. You would not make this leap to a new engine just to return after 2 games. I can't find it, but I remember it. Maybe you Mandela affected me. It's possible. It's possible I gave you Mandela effect. I cannot figure out what. I can't remember what they were doing an interview about. I swore it was an interview about the Cyberpunk sequel. I thought it was something about it. I can't find it. I thought they were doing an interview about the Cyberpunk sequel, and it was basically like they had not completely closed the door on going back to Red Engine. It was something like that. It was some kind of a phrasing like that. It was almost like I don't know. I remembered at least the door was open. They have so many high-quality assets in their engine, it would make sense to me. They're putting way too much work into UE itself, says Paul. Yeah, Jeffrey, we can't confirm whether or not that's an accurate report. Twitter is down. Blue Sky is running. It's running. But it seems to be that yes, and that lines up. That lines up with the. Hang on. Insider Gaming is now reporting on it. Thanks to a data miner. So Bill is claiming that it'll happen. Pre-orders will start around March 25th. That means we'll probably get a trailer and an announcement or a tweet or something this week or next week. Is Indy good? I thought it looked really, really good. I thought the art direction was stellar. Voice acting was great. It was just not my kind of game. A lot of people really liked it, though. It got a really good score from the critics. It got good user scores. It seemed like a very, very quality game. It did. It just wasn't for me. Like, I had actual criticisms of some of the stuff in Avowed. Like, it just didn't perform all that well, but... All right, let's see. We do not have an upload today, so I'm going to give you guys till 1:30. I'm going to give you 20 minutes. If you want to extend the stream, we got to be on pace for the week. So if we hit 100 members, I'll extend the stream. If not, we'll be heading to Green Room in about 22 minutes. And going to be hard to find news. We're gonna have to do our best to find things on Blue Sky. Twitter's been great for just combing through news articles. Split Fiction sold 1 million copies in the first 48 hours. There you go. Huge, humongous success story for them. Deleted. Wait. Alex Battaglia from Digital Foundry retweeted Remedy and said, "Oh, Control Ultimate Edition got a free update. HDR support. So Control on PC just got a little bit prettier for those of you that play it there." Yeah, we'll have to use Blue Sky to find our news, because Twitter is down. Buying books is dumb, or finding them on indie is dumb. What's dumb about it? All the enemies in indie are either fascist or this, which is hilarious. Indie's a beautiful game. The art direction was incredible. Like, I was walking around that one section just like looking at the paintings in the wall and the chair and stuff. I was like, the chairs, I'm sorry. And I was like, they did a great job with the art direction. A console patch is coming later, hopefully Pro Enhanced. Oh, Control Pro Enhanced. Oof. Man, Twitter down, that sounds like good news to me. No, if you use Twitter for news and you follow, mentally healthy accounts, I think Twitter is great. It's just a matter of how you use it. It's all in how you use it. If you go on there and drink from the well of anger and poison and hate, Cyberpunk 2077 may only get one DLC expansion. I feel like you Mandela'd yourself. Why do I feel like they were willing to go back? Cyberpunk's expansion is the last project based on Red Engine. Any further product will be Unreal. Yeah, I remember this. No, yeah, we reported on this. I didn't Mandela myself on this. No. I remember reading this. I remember covering this. Yeah, this is something that we covered in detail. Pulled up the quotes and everything. But I swear there was an interview like 6 months later, and we were not the only ones who made the observation that it seemed like they were open to going back. They were open to going back to Red. According to Windows Central, an Xbox handheld is releasing later this year. What? Are you... Exclusive. Xbox new hardware plans begin with a gaming handheld set for later this year? Yeah, this is Jez. I thought Phil said it was a couple of years out. I'm telling you, man, that man with a full next-gen console targeting 2027. Okay. Here's your first glimpse at Xbox's new hardware plans in some parts, okay? Series X generation has been an odd one. Okay. Microsoft's been putting exclusive console games on PlayStation to help grow profitability. Microsoft seems keen to continue servicing its legacy Xbox audience with new hardware. All right, here's what I've learned. Okay, here's what he's learned. First up, it seems that Microsoft is working with a PC gaming OEM like Asus, Lenovo, Razer on an Xbox-branded gaming handheld, surprisingly slated for later in 2025 if plans are met. Codenamed Keenan, the gaming handheld will look unmistakably Xbox, we're told, complete with an official Xbox guide button and Xbox design sensibilities. Given that this is a partner device, similar to Lenovo's SteamOS partnership with Valve, I expect this handheld to be more PC-oriented. It'll most likely run full Windows, putting the Microsoft Store and PC Game Pass front and center, alongside the ability to install things like Steam. This device will likely serve as a research experience for Microsoft, at least in part. I expect the handheld will test new Windows 11 device-aware capabilities while reducing third-party OEM bloatware that are typical of devices like the Lenovo Legion Go and the Asus ROG Ally. I expect Microsoft will leverage widgets on the Xbox Game Bar and PC for controlling things like TDP and fan speed. Existing PC gaming OEMs will benefit from these efforts, but the research will also help Microsoft further out its plans. Because indeed, our sources also indicate that Microsoft's internal successor to the Series X and S platform has been fully greenlit all the way up to CEO Satya Nadella. For now, I understand that Microsoft's next-gen hardware plans include a premium successor to the powerful Series X. He says premium successor. What is that? Does he mean they're going to try to push power along with its own gaming handheld? And several new controller options. Tentatively, it seems these new console devices are slated for 2027. It seems that the next-gen Xbox consoles will be closer to Windows than ever before, reducing the amount of work developers have to commit when porting from PC. I understand that they will continue to sport backwards compatibility with legacy Xbox games. Xbox President Sarah Bond previously announced a project team specifically designed to promote backwards and forwards compatibility for existing Xbox games to that end. Xbox lead Phil Spencer has teased previous in interviews to desire third-party storefronts on Xbox hardware as well, including platforms like Epic, GOG, and even Steam itself. There's every reason to presume AI will have a role, as well as cloud. New controllers will have direct-to-cloud connectivity, from what I've been told. Trojan horse number 3. Petrov, the question command is broken, my man. It's not going to work anymore. We got to get a new chat bot. Xbox's multi-device future revolves around meeting players exactly where they are, regardless of device, geography, or playstyle. So this comes as a bit as a surprise, because Phil seemed to indicate that the handheld was years out. That the handheld was not close at hand. No pun intended. Microsoft's strategy has de-emphasized its own console audience as its main growth vector. However, it's put stressors on the brand. I've argued in previous editorials that Microsoft needs to bring its core audience along for the ride rather than leave them behind. And its hardware plans seem to be doing that. Yeah, I don't agree with Jez here, though. I like Jez, but I don't agree with him. I don't think they're bringing you along for the ride. These hardware plans don't seem targeted at the hardcore loyal console audience. Excuse me. It really doesn't. It feels, I don't know. This feels like as off the mark as everything as an Xbox is. Like, our console users that have been with Xbox all this time, are they going to be compelled by, like, a PC box? You know what I mean? Yeah, or like what Eugene is saying. You know, a 6 to maybe 700, 800. We don't know the price of it. You know, a 600, maybe $700, $800 handheld. Thanks to the Series S, Microsoft already has a large amount of games that could be more easily ported to a handheld-type system. The strong possibility that these future systems will remain backward compatible ensures that those of us who digitally lock to the Xbox ecosystem will have a place to upgrade to in the future. Yeah, I appreciate Jez reporting on this. I think he's doing a good job here, you know, walking through it in a way that this doesn't feel, you know, like hype oriented or hope oriented. It just feels sort of like facts oriented. But I don't agree with him that this is bringing along those people with Xbox. I don't think they're going to be compelled by this, right? Sorry, Twitter's back up. Okay, I was checking a DM. I got one from Wooly, and yeah. What's your next gameplay? I think the next big game to come out is AC Shadows. We were trying to scope out a way to figure out how to play through Death Stranding 1. I don't think I have enough time to do it. The Xbox handheld will likely be the lead for tomorrow. Guys, we're going to be going to the writer's room in 12 minutes. If you want to extend, we got to be on pace. If we hit 100 members, we'll extend and we'll keep the live stream going. You guys have been doing that off and on lately. If you want the stream to keep going, I greatly appreciate it. Tom Warren says, Sony will give PS5 Pro crisper graphics by backporting FSR 4. Sony says it's working on a re-implementation of FSR 4 upscaler for the PS5 Pro that should arrive in 2026. Okay, I don't think, let's be careful here, but I don't think that's what Mark Cerny said. Our target, he says, is to have something very similar to FSR 4's upscaler available on PS5 Pro as the next evolution of PSSR. He's using a word, okay, re-implementation. Where's that Eurogamer article? Is that an accurate representation of what Cerny said? They're not backporting FSR 4. I thought Cerny said they were going to evolve PSSR to be like that. All right, I'm going to search the Eurogamer article. He says, RDNA 4 and the hardware in the PS5 Pro are completely separate designs, which is why I speak in the terms of re-implementation on PS5 Pro when I talk about the new upscaling network used in FSR 4. I'm definitely looking forward to the future of co-developed hardware features for machine learning that will dramatically increase the interoperability. So he does use the term re-implement, but I don't think it's accurate to say backporting FSR 4. It sounds like they learned things in FSR 4 and they're going to use PSSR to mimic and evolve in that same direction. That doesn't feel like backporting to me. It sounds like he wants to bring FSR 4 to the Pro. That doesn't sound like what they're doing. It's going to be, according to Cerny's own phrasing, our target is to have something very similar to FSR 4's upscaler. I don't know if you would want to say backporting. I don't know if that's an accurate representation, because I don't want anybody to think, you don't want anybody to think incorrectly, like, oh yeah, the PS5 Pro is going to get FSR 4. No, that's not what Cerny said. He wants to mimic it, right? Because people could run with that and misinform the public and say, oh yeah, PS5 Pro is going to end up getting FSR 4, which is not at all what Cerny has indicated. We got a potential here for a good contrast, man. We got a hardware battle brewing. The hardware battle continues between Xbox and PlayStation. We got a handheld, we got a PC hybrid, and then we got PlayStation saying we're pushing PSSR to greater heights, and you'll see evidence of it in 2026. He wants to diminish the effort. He wants to claim PSSR and FSR are the same. It doesn't read very positive, I will say that. I don't... All the headlines are like, PSSR is going to get updated. It's going to evolve. It's going to get better. And he's like, oh, yeah, Cerny's backporting FSR 4. And I'm like, that's not what he said. He didn't say they're backporting FSR 4. They're evolving PSSR to do something similar. But that's not backporting. They're the same. Right, they're the same technology aim. They all have the same aim. So it's like, I don't know. Digital Foundry is saying the key headline is that FSR 4 will be re-implemented for PlayStation 5 Pro in the next evolution of PSSR. So Cerny did say re-implemented, but I don't know. Maybe I'm always a little like picky on verbiage. Since they didn't say backporting, I wouldn't say backporting. I would just say what Cerny said. Cerny aims to re-implement FSR 4 in the next evolution of PSSR. And again, I want the full quote because this is what it looks like in the Eurogamer article. Right? He says, here's re-implementation, right here. Arduino 4 and the hardware in the PS5 Pro are completely separate designs, which is why I speak in the terms of re-implementation on PS5 Pro when I talk about the new upscaling network used in FSR 4. I'm definitely looking forward to future with co-developed hardware features for machine learning that will dramatically increase interoperability. So, again, even with him using the phrasing there, it doesn't sound like that doesn't sound... And again, I don't want people to misconstrue what's being said and then be like, but I heard that we were getting FSR 4 on the Pro. No, that's not what... The Cerny isn't saying that. Updating the machine learning algorithm on PSSR to be based around FSR 4, it makes sense. They're making a version of SFR 4 for older AMD cards, so it's going to be whatever that is. Right. I just want people to be properly informed. Like, they're evolving PSSR with things from FSR 4, but they're not putting FSR 4 on the Pro. That's not what they're doing. It's I don't know. I always get worried because people are going to turn around in the middle of 2026 and have false headcanon about it and be like, but I thought they were doing this. And it's like, no, Cerny never said that. All right, you guys have 5 minutes. 5 minutes to extend. We will see. If you guys have anybody come in and try and do a buzzer beater, you need about 40. You need about 40 members out of nowhere, or we're going to the green room, which we got a lot to break down and discuss. Like I said, it looks like we've got the hardware battle continues, which is not something that I expected to see. We will see about the timelines here. I would be very, very hesitant to start getting kind of gung-ho about like, oh, a handheld this year and then a console next year. The verbiage from Jez was tentative, and if there was a lot of conditional language in Jez's article. People probably want to be very careful about, writing this stuff in stone. There we go. And then we've also got the leak about Indiana Jones. Yeah, we got tons to cover tomorrow. We'll have a full day. We will have a full day. People have totally lost the timeline for PSSR and FSR 4 and the joint venture between them. FSR 4 is based on PSSR but uses a more advanced upscaling model due to access to greater hardware. Cerny is looking to adapt the FSR 4 model as an evolution of PSSR. Right, which is why I think it's dangerous to say they're backporting FSR 4 because, again, I'm not trying to do it. I guarantee you this gets clipped and lied about. Guys, be on guard for that. If somebody clips this and lies about it on Twitter, request a community note. Because I am not saying that this is misleading, but people could 100%, let's just look at the tweet. I think Tom Warren's tweet could be completely misconstrued. Sony will give the PS5 Pro crisper graphics by backporting FSR 4. Sony says it's working on a re-implementation of AMD's FSR 4 upscaler for the PS5 Pro that should arrive in 2026. PSSR is not mentioned here. Somebody's going to see this, and they're going to create false headcanon, and they're going to think, oh, I'm getting FSR 4 on the Pro. That is not true. I actually kind of think that tweet deserves a community note. I do. I don't think that's accurate. You're making it seem as though they're bringing FSR 4 to the Pro. They're not. They're evolving a specific branded piece of tech, PSSR. So you will not be able to say in the future, oh yeah, the Pro has FSR 4. They backported it. No, that's not what they're doing. That's an egregious mischaracterization of what is happening. We need a tweet of reference. Does Digital Foundry have one that mentions PSSR? I really think that's a misrepresentation. Yeah, this'll work. I'll use the one where they say FSR will be re-implemented for the next evolution of PSSR. I think that's more holistic. The lack of the mention of PSSR is what's wrong with that tweet. So I'll just link to the Digital Foundry one. The technology is Sony's and AMD's. The consoles do not have the hardware for FSR 4. Only the 9070 cards can do FSR 4. It's hardware feature, not a software feature. That's what I'm saying. The whole point of the interview is to stress that they're evolving PSSR. And it sounds like when you read that tweet, it sounds like, no, they've decided to backport FSR 4 instead. And it's like, no. Somebody's going to completely get misled by that. They're going to turn around in 2026 and be like, I was told we were getting FSR 4. Like, what's going on here? It's like, you're not. You're getting an evolution of PSSR. So it's hard to have nuance in these conversations because it's so easy for one thing like that to land and to not like properly have the details and the nuance, and then you're going to turn around in 6 months and you'll have people claiming that, oh, Mark Cerny lied, he said we were getting FSR 4. It's like, nope. Like it's that easy, I think, to create false headcanon in this space. It's super easy to do. And I'm not even saying that that's the intention of his tweet. I'm just saying, as soon as I saw the word backporting, I was like, wait a minute. I know I only skimmed the article, but I don't think that's what Cerny said they're doing. Okay, it's 1:30. All right, I'm gonna spam a link in chat. I'm gonna set up redirect. And we'll also try to. Oh, I don't think I've converted this off of private. Oh, I still have green rooms at the private. Whoops. This will be a member plus and higher. This is a great reason to upgrade your membership. It's a great reason to sign up right now and become a member. And make sure you pick member plus because you can come to the next thing that we do. You get to continue the journey with us. The day doesn't end here. We stream for another couple of hours for the members that are at Member Plus and above. This is a way to give more content to people supporting the channel directly. And if you're like, man, I'm on a gifted, I can't afford it right now, I totally get that. That's why you get morning coffee. You get the segment with Hilly. You get Friday nights with Madam. You get an awful lot of content that somebody else paid for you. So make sure and say thank you to the people that did that. And whenever you're in a position to do so, upgrade for that $1, $6 a month. Somebody said this is what helped them see it, the bigger picture. I said, listen, it's a cup of coffee every month, right? You're basically buying a cup of coffee every month and you get access to all this extra content and it supports what I do. So if you think about it in that perspective, maybe that can help you make the decision. And maybe you're still paying for Hulu or something and you don't use it and you're here every day. And that's another great reason to support what we do directly. If I am giving you that amount of entertainment on a regular basis and you appreciate it that much, that's something you can do. And if you can't afford it, we have very generous people here who are gifting all the time, and I hope you get it gifted. I am going to spam a link in chat, and that's going to be where we're headed. Thanks for all the support. And thank you so much for being a paying member. We recently hit a huge milestone. We are at 600 people at Member Plus and above. Now we're setting our sights on 700. I will give you an update on the IRL stream. We're going to do the reverse here. Going to try and show you guys how I do it. Going to try and kind of navigate. And I do have a new phone with a better camera, so it'll actually look really good as well. Perfect timing there. That we'll try and do that this Saturday. I'll talk to my wife about it, and we'll see if we can't navigate the schedule and get the steak so that we can do it for you guys to celebrate, and then we'll celebrate at the next milestone as well. I'm going to end the previous stream and redirect folks over, and I will change